mix and match items for just $6.99 each.
Happy Monday morning, everybody. Rise and shine. It's a holiday here in the U.S., holiday weekend. I have been enjoying it. As you can tell, I actually have some sun. I got some sun all weekend. Today it's cloudy. So we're up at 9 a.m. filming a video. Now, we have a very interesting video today. We're going to talk about a couple of things with this. First of all, let me know what you guys think about this. We're going to be talking about basically 2K. Officially, there's been a lot of rumors. You know, this is still technically a rumor, but it's an advanced rumor, I would say, because this has been floating around the community for a little bit. We haven't really had too much information on when. Was it going to be 2026? Was it going to be 2027? So 2K Games have secured the FIFA video game license, according to MoPlay. The same source claims FIFA 2K25 will launch later this year. So, we're going to break this tweet down in a second. I want to know what you guys think. This, by the way, has 14 million views on Twitter. That's crazy. This news comes just days after FIFA President Gianni Infantino, who said, "We are developing new partners and a new game. Get ready." Now, 2K, I do not blame for jumping into this opportunity, because there is an opportunity. That is also why right now in the football game community we have games like UFL and goals making games. There's a huge opportunity, in my opinion, to jump into this space, and there's a lot of eyes. You know, this situation of what we have currently in our community reminds me of Call of Duty right now. You know, Call of Duty still has a lot of players playing the game. I would say EA Sports FC still has a ton of people playing the game, but there's a huge crowd of those people that it's really the only game they want to play. You know, it's like they have that frustration that they're waiting for that next up game, right? And I think a lot of people in this community feel that way. I've also learned over the last couple weeks, there's also a lot of people that don't feel that way. A lot of people are perfectly happy with EA Sports FC. The reason why I'm going to laugh and meme and make fun of 2K, because EA and 2K, what they remind me of is the show Beavis and Butthead. I don't know if anybody's watched that American sitcom. They literally remind me of that show. It's just a prime example of Dumb and Dumber, right? So who's going to be less dumb in this situation? And I think 2K is smart to hop into this opportunity, because I think obviously, you know, a football video game, right? There's a lot to be said that there's a lot of people that would play it and try it. Now, here's a couple of things just background-wise you have to understand about 2K as a company. Very money hungry. I would put them on the pedestal higher than EA. The reason I would say that is that they do just the same amount of microtransactions in 2K My Team. They do even more stuff in they have a park mode in NBA 2K. They go out of control, guys, with, you know, what they go and do with microtransactions. So that's something you can definitely expect. Not to mention, I've been loving this game, Topspin. You guys have been watching on the channel. I just paid $80 for a tennis game that has 2 online tournaments on it and a career mode. So let's put that out there, right? This game will not be cheap, but is it any different than EA, what we've been having with them? No, right? So here's where the promising part is. There's other games right now like UFL and Goals, right? The question mark with those 2 other games being created, there's a huge part of the EA FC population that only cares about graphics and player licenses, right? I am a person that I do really care about player licenses. Obviously, I want great gameplay, but player licenses for me, you know, it's the same with you guys. You want to jump on, you want to use Neymar, you want to use Haaland, whatever it is, Messi, Ronaldo, that's a big deal. Then there's another crowd that loves graphics. If the graphics aren't anywhere close to good enough, they will not touch it. So EA have won over a lot of the community on graphics, and the reason why 2K entering this space is good, I think out of any of the other games being created right now, that 2K will be able to give EA the largest run for their money in terms of graphics, because I think they have the largest core of a development team and just overall company, and I think, again, financials are going to be, you know, super important here. There's a couple question marks going around in the community with 2K, like, okay, are they just bringing back the FIFA name? Do they actually have full licenses? So we'll talk about some of that stuff. Regardless, I'm of the opinion that EA really sold not paying the license, because I think FIFA as a name is so iconic that whoever enters into the game in the next year or two with the name FIFA, which looks like it's going to be 2K, bro, that's huge marketing within itself. The fact that they have the name FIFA. I personally stand by this, not because I'm an EA hater. I really believe that. I think that, you know, I'm a person that grew up loving FIFA. I always say this game is FIFA 24. When there's actually another FIFA, people are going to be really inclined to buy that first, even if it's a first-year product. Now, some other things to break down with this tweet. Bro, does Gianni Infantino know how hard it is to make a video game? Like, for them to be releasing this in 2K25, this would have had to have been working on for years, which I doubt, because Gianni Infantino said like a year or two ago that they were just going to enter the space and they were going to do it. So I have question marks there, right? Is this one of those, typical scenarios where 2K25 turns into 2K28?
You've earned this.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Saturday, May 11th. It's about 6 o'clock in the p.m., and we are back at Bellagio, and I am running a little bit behind here. I got to get down there and get into the poker room, get checked in, get a seat. I got on the list about 45 minutes to an hour ago, so hope my seat is, I'm still available, or I'm still on the list. Anyway, we are shot taking. Yep, that's right. You heard it correctly. We're shot taking today. So I'm jumping into the 2-5 streets. 2-5, no limit hold'em here at Bellagio. Elevator is open. All right. I will see you all at the tables. Taking our seat here at the 2-5 table at Bellagio, we buy in for the max, which is 500, and we get dealt a couple hands before we pick up King, Queen of Hearts on the button. We see a raise from a middle position player who makes it 20 to go. We see a call from the low jack. I decide to just put in the $20 call here in position, and both the blinds get out of the way. So we are headed 3 ways to a flop, which comes down pretty good for our hand. We see King of Spades, Deuce of Spades, Deuce of Diamonds. Middle position player decided the continuation bet here for $30, and the low jack decides to fold. I could get on board with raising or calling here. I think the worst thing we could possibly do is fold. So I put in the $30 call, and we're going to head to a turn, which is the 8 of Spades, completing the front door flush. Now the middle position player slows down and puts in a check, and I decide to check back here as well, although I think I could go for a bet here. I don't think he's going to be checking a flush all that often. And we see the Queen of Diamonds peel off on the river, giving us 2 pair. And now the middle position player checks for a second time, and I definitely think that he does not have the flush, and I think we need to go for some value. So I go ahead and put out a bet here at $55. We can definitely get called by a worse king, a hand like King Jack, King 10, maybe even King 9 I'll certainly call, and maybe some non-believing pocket pairs will call as well. And he pretty much snap calls, so we end up getting the value here from our opponent on the river, and we win this first pot to start the night.
Escape to Aquatica Orlando for a new wave of excitement. Discover what.
Nothing too crazy in this hand, but I did want to share it with all of you just to get your feedback on how you would play in this particular situation. So we've got a small pocket pair, we're in the cutoff, and it folds around to me. I go ahead and raise it up, I make it 15 to go. Button gets out of the way, but the small blind puts in the call, and the big blind folds. So the small blind, I think, is going to have a lot of Broadway cards in her range. She's going to have a lot of like King Queen, King Jack, Ace 10, King 10 type hands. So when we see a Queen 10 9 all clubs board, I'm a little bit hesitant to c-bet here based on that range that I've given her. So when she checks, I check back, and she immediately leads out $30 on the turn, which is the 10 of diamonds, and I snap fold. I don't really think we're going to be able to do much here other than just get out of the way when we don't flop anything. But I guess the big question is should we be c-betting on that flop? I think it's probably a yes, but I'm curious to hear all of your thoughts as well. Leave it in the comments below. Moving on to a little bit more of an interesting hand. This time we've got Queen 10 of clubs, and we are in early position under the gun. I raise it up, I make it 15 to go, and we end up seeing a call from the small blind once again. And that is going to be the only caller, so we actually are going to go heads up here to a flop, which seems to be a little bit of a rarity at the 2-5 stakes, but that's okay. I'll take the heads up action. And we end up seeing a flop which is 8-7-7 with one club. So we've got a backdoor flush draw and a couple of overs. So when the small blind checks, I decide to go ahead and continuation bet here, and I make it 15 to go and accidentally throw in a $1 chip. My mistake. Dealer corrects the action, and the small blind puts in the call. And we go to a turn card, which is the King of Hearts. So now we pick up a draw, and the small blind checks. I think I make a pretty big mistake here, and I check back. I think I should be continuing to pile on the pressure here. I think the King of Hearts is going to be better for my range than it is for the small blind's range. So I check back, and we see the 8 of spades, I think it was, on the river. Small blind decides to check again, and I definitely cannot win here with my queen high. So I think I have to go ahead and take a stab at it. Probably not the best reasons in the world to formulate a bluff, but at the time that was my thinking. I got a bluff here, otherwise I cannot win the pot. So I had to settle on a sizing of $50 here on the river, and surprisingly, it gets the job done. The small blind puts in the fold, and we end up taking down this pot. It's hard to say what exactly they called with on the flop. Maybe a pocket pair like 9s, maybe 10s, maybe a hand like 6s. I don't know, hard to say, but we end up winning this one with our bet on the river. Here's another one where we got to fight to win the pot. You gotta put in the battle. You got to give it your all to try to win these pots, especially when you miss with a hand like 7-6 of spades. We see a limp from a player in the hijack, and I raise it up. I make it 20 to go. Trying to isolate this player. He's only got about 150 behind though, so I don't know. I probably really don't need to be isolating with a hand like 7-6, but that's what I did, and we end up seeing a flop which comes down ace 10-3 rainbow. Hijack checks, his ace high boards. I just decided to check back. I think he's going to have so much ace X in his range, it's ridiculous. But when the turn's an 8 and he checks again, I don't think he's going to be checking an ace twice. So I go ahead and fire out here for $25, and that gets the job done. He obviously was pretty weak there and didn't have too much, so we take down a little pot here with our suited connector. To my surprise, the table had been playing pretty straightforward up to this point, so I see a limp from under the gun, and I look down at ace 9 of spades. Definitely good enough to come in for a raise, so I bump things up to 20. It ends up folding around to the player in the small blind who puts in the call. Big blind gets out of the way, and the player under the gun spot who limped puts in the call. So we're going to go 3 ways to a flop in position. Flop comes down queen 5-4 with 2 spades, giving us the nut flush draw. So when it checks to me, I think I definitely want to continue to represent and put pressure on these players. So I make it 35 to go. Unfortunately, the small blind, who really is the main target for me in this spot because he'd been playing about 60% of hands, he puts in the fold after thinking about it for a little while, and the under the gun player doesn't think too long at all before folding. So it would have been nice to see a turn, see if we couldn't hit that flush one time. But unfortunately, that is not the case, and we win a small pot with our ace 9 of spades.
We noticed she was kind of stumbling. She kind of had a head tilt, just a slight head tilt. And I said, babe, something's not right. And by 10 o'clock that night, we saw a kiwi-sized mass on the bottom of her brain. July of 2012, my daughter was diagnosed with ATRT. There's not a high survival rate.
With a referral, Amris arrived at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Just as soon as we walked through those doors, we felt better. It was like a big relief. We started treatment, and they gave us hope.
After several months, scans showed that Amris was cancer-free.
We all just burst into tears. We had come so far from this is almost impossible to beat to now we've beat it.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital works day after day to find cures and save the lives of children with cancer and other life-threatening diseases.
She had been cancer-free for 5 years. We noticed a little small spot on her scans. It's a reoccurrence of her original cancer, ATRT. It has come back and has a punch in the gut. If we were in this same scenario in 2012, there would be no treatment options. Since 2012, they have all these other research developments that have come along that have made treating relapse possible.
The money that people are giving to St. Jude, it's not just for the families, it's for continuing research to come up with new cures, new ideas of treatment for kids just like Amris.
1 in 5 children diagnosed with cancer in the U.S. will not survive. You can join the battle to save lives by supporting St. Jude. Please call or go on.
This is just for the shits and giggles, for the lulls, as they like to say in the internet land. We've got Queen Jack offsuit on the button, and it folds over to me, and I raise it up. I make it 15 to go. Really just trying to steal the blinds here, but we end up getting called by both blinds. The small blind and the big blind both put in the call. So we're going to go 3 ways to a flop in position, which comes down ace 5-4 with 2 diamonds. Both players check to me, and I decide to check it back here. Not going to be firing out on this but exact board, this exact run out. And we see a turn card, which is a deuce. Both players check for a second time, and I think I make a mistake here on the turn, and I check again, and the river's the ace of hearts. Now it checks around on the river, and the small blind confidently turns over his queen jack, and I turn over my queen jack, and the big blind turns over queen 9 offsuit. So we are going to end up chopping this with the small blind. Had I taken a little bit more of an aggressive line in this spot, I would have taken down the whole pot, because these players are obviously just playing their 2 cards. They're not thinking about much at all. But unfortunately, I did not get aggressive. I did not put in the bet. I did not go for it, and we end up chopping what could have been a win. Enough of that boring checking down stuff. Let's play a premium pocket pair. This time we've got the kings, and we are in the under the gun +1 spot. I raise it up, I make it 15 to go, and it ends up folding around to our friend in the small blind, who he is the action player, if you will, at the table. He's been very active, calling about maybe 50 to 60% of hands pre-flop, and I'm really happy to see him put in the call and the big blind fold here, and even happier to see a flop of 10, 6, 6, 2 diamonds, so we avoid the dreaded ace magnets. He puts in the check, and he's going to have a lot of pocket pairs. He's going to have a lot of 10x. He's going to have some flush draws, so a lot of value to be had. I fire out for 20. He thinks about it for some time. He looks at his cards. It looks like he's thinking about putting in a call, but he folds. So we don't get any action here with our Cowboys. We do take down a small pot. I'll take it. Better than losing a big pot. Life is all about second chances. This time we've got pocket kings in the big blind. We see a limp from under the gun +1. We see a raise from middle position player. He makes it 15 to go. The player in the cutoff decides to put in the call, and the button and the small blind both decide to get out of the way. I am definitely not going to be just calling here, not with the second best starting hand in all of poker. We've got a bunch of players in the pot, so I'm going to go on the larger side here, and I settle on a sizing of $85 to go. Folds around to the action player, who is really who I want to isolate in this spot. He seems to just love to call pre-flop and then basically fold if he misses post-flop. So I'm really hoping he's going to give us some action here when it folds to him, but unfortunately he sends his cards flying into the pot, and we just take down the dead money here. Not the result we were hoping for, but again, it's a win. I'd rather take a small win than lose a big pot. Not one of my favorite hands recently. It's been kind of unkind to me as of late, but this time we've got ace-queen offsuit in the small blind. We see a raise from under the gun. I just called a $15 raise, and it ends up going heads up when the big blind folds. Not the worst case scenario here. I also don't like 3-betting under the gun raises too often, because they're often going to be pretty snug in that early position. We see a flop of king of spades, queen of clubs, 10 of clubs. I check it over, and he fires a continuation bet here of $20. I think we can go ahead and just call here with our middle pair, and we've got the ace of clubs, so we can always hit our backdoor flush draw here as well. I put in the $20 call, and we see a turn, which is the ace of spades, giving us top 2 pair on a pretty wet and connected board. I check it over to him again, and he does not really strong holding, like a straight, he would definitely be betting a little bit on the larger side. So this just seems a little bit bluffy to me, like he doesn't really have too much. And he's just trying to see if he can get us to lay it down here. I put in the call, and we are off to a river, which is a complete blank. It is the deuce of spades. It does bring in a backdoor spade draw, but I think that's pretty much irrelevant at this point. I check. Unfortunately, he snap checks back, and at that point I realize our hand is definitely good here. I turn over the two pair, and we win a nice pot here with ace queen. A little redemption with this hand. It's nice to see after losing with it quite often. Strap in. This is going to be the hand of the session. We've got pocket jacks in the big blind, the jiggities, the fish hooks. We see a limp from player who is under the gun plus one spot, who first tries to check, but dealer tells him you can't check, you got to at least call. Middle position player puts in the call. Cutoff goes ahead and puts in the call. Now it's over to the small blind after the button gets out of the way, and she decides to raise it up. She makes it 25 to go. I think she could be doing this with a lot of hands, just trying to target all the dead money. And I put in the call here. I think this is a big mistake. I think I should definitely be going for a 3-bet here in the spot, trying to isolate heads up in position with the small blind. The call ends up inviting the whole table along. So the under the gun plus one calls, middle position calls, and cutoff calls. Now we are headed 5 ways to a flop, which is a good flop. We end up seeing top set on a flop of Jack 10-8 with 2 diamonds. With top set, it's music to my ears when the small blind continuation bets for small sizing here. She makes it 25 to go. Betting into 4 opponents, very strong move. I think she's going to have a lot of overpairs, and she's going to have some sets of her own in this spot. So definitely want to raise it up and try to get heads up with her. I make it 100 to go. Folds over to the player in middle position who limped. He decides to cold call the $100 raise. This is definitely setting off alarm bells. Now it's back over to the small blind who goes into the tank. When the middle position player calls here, he's definitely going to have a lot of draws. A lot of straight draws. He's going to have some diamond draws. I would think he would want to jam with a lot of hands that he feels need protection on this board. So I think his range is pretty much almost all draws. And the small blind calls, and I think she's got a lot of overpairs in her range. We see the 7 of diamonds on the turn, which completes the front door flush, brings in the straight flush, brings in all the draws, all the straight draws, all the draws got there, and the small blind decides now to check. The action is on me, and I think checking is really our only option here. I go ahead and check, and now the middle position player decides to rip it all in for his additional $212 that he had behind. And it's over to the small blind, who once again is in the tank. And I'm trying to decide what I want to do here. We do have the jack of diamonds, which blocks some of the flush draws and some of the straight draws. So I think we potentially could call here. It's all going to be dependent on how the small blind reacts in this spot. And after tanking for some time, she finally settles on a call. So she puts in the additional money, and we've got about a $750 pot now. And I've got to call 212 to win about $750. Even if we're behind to a flush, we could still potentially hit one of our outs to pair the board and take this one down. We were only dead to a straight flush, which I really highly doubt the middle position player has. So after thinking about it for some time, I think we have the right price to just call. If we're behind, we can still hit one of our outs, and we might still be ahead in this spot. So I go ahead and put in the call. We see the 9 of clubs on the river, and I think we're good here until the middle position player turns over king, queen. He ended up hitting the 9 of clubs to give him the straight, queen high straight on the river. Small blind turns over pocket aces as suspected, so she was dead the whole way. Really unfortunate to see that the middle position player connected with one of his outs on the river to give him the best hand. We got it in good. We got it in really good. He had about maybe 18% equity there on that turn, and unfortunately we just couldn't hold to secure the win. So we end up losing quite a big pot here. Unfortunate run out for us, and we couldn't hold, but that's the way it goes sometimes in poker. We get it in good, and you end up losing. Admittedly, I'm on a little bit of tilt after the last hand with pocket jacks. I look down at ace king offsuit. This is about 10 minutes later, and I go ahead and raise it up after we see the player in the under the gun spot limp. I make it 25 to go, and it ends up folding back around to the under the gun player who puts in the call. So we're going to go heads up to a flop, which comes down ace 3-4 with 2 diamonds, giving us top pair, top kicker. So when I see the under the gun player check, I'm definitely going to be firing out for value, and I decide to go with $30 on this flop. He doesn't think too long at all before putting in the $30 call, and we are going to head off to a turn card, which I'm hoping is clean. And it's the 3 of clubs. Does pair the board, but really shouldn't change too much. He would be raising with any of his 2 pairs or sets, so I don't think we have to worry too much about a full house. So when he checks again, I think he can have a lot of 1-pair type hands that are going to be calling here. So I size up. I make it 100 to go on this turn card. Now, the reason I'm sizing up is I don't think he's going to be capable of folding hands like ace-queen, ace-jack, ace-10, even hands like ace-9. He's probably never going to be folding there. I think with his flush draws, he probably will be tempted to call as well. A lot of players have a hard time getting away from some of their draws, and he can have straight draws here. So I go ahead and raise it up to a large size, or I should say bet to a large size. And this puts him into the tank, and I think he's going to be calling here. It looks like he wants to be calling here. He's talking out loud about me having a flush draw, which really doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's what he keeps saying. So he's putting me on a draw, and I think when he's putting me on a draw, he definitely has the 1-pair hand that I think he has. So I'm thinking he's going to call, but eventually he just folds. Maybe we should have sized down a little bit there. Maybe a sizing like 75 would have gotten a prime call from him, but unfortunately we don't win any additional more chips from this player with our top pair, top kicker. Let's see what we can do here on future hands and see if we can win some of our money back and get up on this session.
Jolly Rancher. Made with huge fruit flavor.
Did Billy come out to play? Yes!
The all-new Tacoma. Toyota. Let's go places.
A good 90 minutes goes by before we look down at 8-7 suited. See a raise from middle position. He makes it 20 to go, and I can get on board here with a 3-bet or calling in position, and I decide to do the latter. I just call in position. Folds around, and we end up going heads up to a flop here in position, which is a good outcome. And we see a flop of Jack 9-7 rainbow. Player in middle position decides the continuation bet here for $25, and I think I can get a little creative here on this flop. We've got a 7 in our hand, so we block pocket 7s, and we could represent pocket 7s. We could also represent hands like pocket 9s or flop straights. So I go ahead and I bump it up. I make it 80 to go. He doesn't think too long at all before snap calling the raise. When he snap calls, I think he's on a weaker hand here. I think he would think a little bit longer if he had a strong holding here. We go heads up to the turn, which is the 5 of hearts, which brings in a backdoor flush draw. When he checks here, I make a mistake, and I check back when I think I should continue representing here on this turn card. But as played, we see the 10 of hearts on the river, giving us a straight, but bringing in the backdoor flush. Not too concerned with the backdoor flush when this player checks on the river. I don't think he's going to be checking a flush. I don't think he's going to be checking 2 pairs straights here. So I think we definitely have the best hand and can bet for value. I make it $100 to go, and this puts this player into the tank. And I'm starting to think he's just got himself a 1-pair holding here. Something like ace-jack, king-jack, queen-jack. Maybe some 2-pair hands as well, like jack-10 that hit the river. He thinks for about it for a good 30 to 40 seconds before putting in the call, and we get paid with our straight. He is not a happy camper when we show him the 8-7 suited, and we take down a nice pot here, starting to get back to even after losing with our pocket jacks. As a matter of fact, I think I'm up about $40 after this pot, which is a nice way to claw back after a bad beat like the one we took earlier. Second to last hand of the night, we are playing shorthanded. We've got 6 players at the table. I make it 15 to go with ace-deuce of clubs, and we end up getting called by pretty much everybody at the table. Button calls, small blind calls, and the big blind calls. So we're going to go 4 ways to a flop. We almost have position. The button's got the ultimate position here. And we see a flop giving us top pair, ace, 4, 6, rainbow. Small blind checks, big blind checks, and I go ahead and fire out a continuation bet here with our top pair. I make it 35 to go, and everyone gets out of the way. So we end up getting a little value here in a multi-way pot with our suited ace. All right, the last hand of the session, I did not get on camera, so I know I'm a bad vlogger. Burn me in the comments below for not doing my job well. This is pocket kings on the button. And we see an early position player who limps. Middle position player raises to 15. Gets around to me. I re-raise it to 55. The small blind cold calls $55, and the original raiser calls as well. The flop comes out queen, deuce, 3 with 2 diamonds. Small blind checks. The original raiser checks. And I make a mistake here and check as well. I think I should be betting, but I do check, and we see the 6 of spades on the turn. Now the small blind leads for $100 on this turn card, and the middle position player calls $100. I think our hand now is super under-repped, having just checked back on this flop. I think a lot of queen X hands are just going to be betting here on the turn, so I call the $100 bet, and we see the 8 of hearts on the river. Obviously not my favorite card, but
What's up, everybody? Today we have a massive OG Anunoby contract.
At Domino's, you can get any 2 medium 2-topping pizzas for $6.99 each, or lava cakes, bread bites, and more.
All right, ready to get underway. Here's some real power at the plate. Gunnar Henderson. The pitch. Swing and a ball lifted to center field. Edman in position. And makes the grab. And there's one away. Here's the third baseman, Harmon Killebrew. That clips the corner. 1 out, base is empty. Foul back our way, and that's out of play. One down, base is empty. Arenado throws to first in time. And now Will Brennan. And a foul ball. Two down, nobody on. Right back to him on the mound. Tosses to first, and that is that.
That is $40 million per year. Oh, yeah. Great pass.
Tommy Edman at the plate as the lefty gets to work. And fires in a fastball at 95. Now 1-1.
One ball, one strike.
Good eye right there. And now the lefty struck him out looking. Now Mason Wynn. This one chopped on the ground, but foul. The 0-1. Caught and missed. Struck him out. 2 away down. Wilson Contreras now up to the plate. And a swing and a miss there.
0-1's the count.
2 outs, base is empty. Pitch misses there, and now it's even 1-1.
Looks really sharp at the start of this one. This is how it's going to be today. It's going to be a tough one for this lineup.
Hard hit, right side. Gonzalez steps on the bag, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. Back here in St. Louis, second inning set to go. And now, Gary Sanchez. Swing and a ball hit out towards left center field. Carpenter sizing this one up. 1 up, 1 down. Here's a big power threat. Mike Camrick. He was late there. Strike 1.
You know, this guy's great speed is in the back of that pitcher's mind. If he can get on, it's going to give him one more thing he's got to think about.
The 0-1 is outside, and it's a ball and a strike. And that one is lifted in the air. Carlson settles underneath it. Pulls it down, and there's 2 gone. Romy Gonzalez getting ready to hit. In the air, left side. Makes the grab, and that'll end the inning. Back in St. Louis as the Cardinals come up to hit here in the last of the second. And now the first baseman, Paul Goldschmidt. Out to short, Henderson. Rolls across the diamond, and they get Goldschmidt for the out. Here's Nolan Arenado. And that's off the inside edge. And it's 1-0.
Tired or not, he's relentless with the way he pitches. He might be exhausted out there, but his stuff is still nasty.
Henderson slings it across, and a couple of quick outs. Here's Nolan Gorman. Catches the top part of the zone. Strike 1.
Right through there for a strike. Well, he didn't like those first 2 pitches. Now in an 0-2 hole. He's going to have to battle. Hope he gets a mistake.
Swings through that one. It's a strike. We're back to start the third, and there's a new arm on the mound, Keenan Middleton. Now it's the second baseman, Colt Heath. The pitch. Out towards left center. Carpenter gets under it. And there's 1 away.
Well, such a confidence boost for a reliever to come into the ball game and get the first hitter he faces. Just makes everything slow down a little bit, and then from there can really settle in.
High fly ball out towards left field. Carpenter on the move, heading back. Pulls it in on the warning track. Here's Byron Buxton. Swung out, belted. Deep. That one went back there. And that one's going to land not so much here, but here. He sends a rocket to left. It's 1-0. Back to the top of the lineup, Gunnar Henderson, the next to hit. Swing and a ball driven pretty well out towards left center. And that is that. Ready to go for the last half of the inning. And the batter now, Dylan Carlson. Here comes a pitch. Fought off foul. Looking to get the tying run on base. And that's down and away.
Just missed with that backdoor breaking ball. If he gets a swing and miss or called strike 0-2 count, instead it's 1-1. Look for him to go back to that pitch later in this at bat.
And he deals. Swing and a miss, struck him out. Now it's back Carpenter. And time is called for a mound visit now. Big moment in this game, so they'll talk it over. So they turn to the veteran pitcher in this spot, Aaron Loup.
These are the spots relievers really make a name for themselves, late and close. There's not much margin for error, but at the same time, there's a reason they're put in these situations.
Trying to close out a one-run lead. And the home team trying to pull it out. Swing and a miss, and that's strike two. In the air to left center. Pulls it down, and he makes the catch. 2 down. 1 out left for the Cardinals. And now here is Ivan Herrera. And that one fouled off. The pitch. Bounding ball here, rolls foul. 1 strike away. Got him, and that's the ball game.
They say a solo shot won't beat you, but that definitely doesn't apply in a 3-inning game. That often can be all you need, and that was the case here in this one.
The final 1-0 for Chris Singleton and our entire crew. I'm John Sciambi saying so long.
So if you try to make another $500 deposit, when they check to see with your bank if you have the funds, they're getting a screenshot of your bank account from Friday. So you could keep depositing $500 until you've hit the deposit limit on that book over and over again, even if you only have the initial $500.
Welcome back to the Locked In with Ian Bick podcast. On today's episode, we have Rob Minnick here to reveal his struggles with a gambling addiction and how he was able to overcome it. I think this is the first gambling addiction story we've had on this show, and it hits close to home as I've had issues with the past with gambling. Thank you to all the listeners who tune in week after week to the show. Remember to leave us a review on Spotify or Apple, and hit us with that follow and subscribe button on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. And remember to follow me on my Instagram, @Ian_Bick. We have some really exciting things coming down the pipeline, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. Now, without further ado, sit back, relax, and get ready to lock in with Rob Minnick. Rob, welcome to Locked In. You're coming to us from New Jersey today, right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Did you grow up in New Jersey?
Yeah, down south. So if you drew a line between Philadelphia and Atlantic City, right in the middle, it's a little town called Washington Township.
Right near Atlantic City, huh?
Yep.
I guess that didn't work out so well.
Not at all, no.
So I would say you are our first on the show that, besides myself, because I was like borderline, having a gambling addiction, big risk taker, that you yourself had a gambling addiction, and you're very open about it on your social media. You've built like a brand talking about it.
I appreciate you calling it that. I don't think anyone's called it that yet.
Calling it a brand?
Yeah, I think that, people see it as, just sharing stories, which at Space Corps, that's what it is. But yeah, I share my story of gambling addiction because for a really long time, and as you just mentioned, I'm the first one to come out and say it on here. No one knows, you don't know who around you has a gambling problem. So I thought I was the only one in the world, and of course that's not true, but for a really long time I felt isolated, didn't know what to do, and then when I was experiencing all the negatives, the bad behaviors that I was doing, and suffering the consequences, I had no idea where to get help for it because I didn't think that existed.
You're also very young, so to be young and open about talking about it, I don't think that's very common. I read books, especially when I was in prison, about some celebrities that had gambling addictions, landed them in prison, or guys that went to prison for fraud. Gambling is usually a big factor because they're using the fraud to propel a gambling lifestyle. And those are all guys in their 40s, 30s, or 40s. So to be young and open about it, I think that's like a very unique perspective.
I appreciate that. I think it's honestly a reflection of online gambling now and the speed that you can really screw things up for yourself. Because it used to be, you gotta drive in, you gotta hide it from everyone, what you're doing on a Friday or Saturday. Now you can roll out of bed and just light your life on fire. And I pretty much did that repeatedly over a 6-year period, but just the speed of it, I felt it getting worse and worse, and I'm sure we'll dive into it throughout the episode, but it had gotten to the point where I could not have had it get any worse and been able to stay sane.
Yeah, you could literally lose everything in seconds on the app.
Yeah.
Before I gave up gambling completely, I just did like a few things on the phone, and it's like this. You can literally lose everything and continue to wipe yourself out on these phones. Like, it's just so dangerous. It's not anything like what it used to be.
Yeah, man. I don't usually like to compare between different addictions because every addiction is addiction. But when you look at a gambling addiction, there's no overdose. You can keep going. They'll take any money that you offer them. There's no money that's good versus bad. It's all the same to the industry. So if your money's coming from your checking account or from your mom's savings drawer, it's all the same to them. So
Absolutely.
You can really overextend.
So growing up, did you come from a 2-parent household, siblings? What was that like?
Yeah, mom and dad, brother, everything was really status quo, really good. I never felt like I was struggling. We weren't super well off, but we weren't poor by any means, and it was just always normal, natural, nothing too high, nothing too low. When I think about gambling looking back, it was always present. Like, family would play little card games, parents would take us to Atlantic City for dinners, they'd play a couple hands of blackjack, but it was never anything besides entertainment for anyone around me. But yeah, thinking back, it was just very normal, at least to me.
Yeah, did you go to public school or private school?
Yeah, public school the whole way.
How would your friends describe you if we had them here today?
Loud. Probably.
You loud? You look very quiet.
No, I think it's because I wore a sweater. But,
it's always a sweater.
No, man, I think I've always been a very outgoing person. I did well in school, went to a good college, did it all, but never felt like I was pleasing myself. It always felt like I was just trying to maintain this image of being the guy that always made the right decision. Of course, those closest to me would know I don't always make the right decision at all. But yeah, I would say an outgoing person.
What was like your aspiration career-wise in high school, if you had one?
It shifted a few times, but I think that if I was to guess, the one that I held for the longest time, it was probably to be a lawyer. Until had some like minor legal trouble in high school, just like a drinking ticket, like underage drinking ticket, and I saw the mundane lifestyle of a local lawyer, and I thought, well, I don't want to do that. suits like Harvey Specter. But so I guess that being a lawyer was there for a while, but I never had a strong conviction to be anything specific.
You know, speaking of Suits 1, I just finished it because I just got into it since it's been on Netflix. Amazing show.
Oh, yeah.
Even started watching the Pearson spinoff, but they canceled that after one season. Yeah, that was alright. It was kind of slow, and they leave you on a cliffhanger after they canceled it. But the brother of the roommate, his roommate, and the one that's like the drug dealer, the guy that plays it, brother, has been at the studio. He's a big documentarian. He does like stuff for Netflix, produced the HBO one that they did about me.
Oh, wow.
So he's been working here at the studio. We're working on a couple projects, and he looks exactly like his brother who plays this role. And he was like, yeah, my brother's played this role in Suits. I was like, wow, that's incredible. I knew you looked familiar from somewhere.
Dude, he was good. He was a good actor. And, I mean, one more Suits reference, I guess. My parents were poking fun of me because we're up in Danbury. I don't know if you say where the studio is on the feed or not, but that's where, Mike gets sent to prison. And they were like, oh, let's stop in and say hi to Mike Ross while you're up.
Yeah, that's so funny. I mean, and that federal prison depicted in the show looks nothing like, because I was in Danbury for a little bit, it's nothing like what was in the show. It looks like they probably did go to a federal prison, but it wasn't what the Danbury one was. But it is funny that he goes to FCI Danbury because they were in New York City, so that was the closest Fed prison. That was a camp where Mike would have went. But yeah, it was interesting to see that dynamic. That what they had on the show was kind of a mix between like a holdover facility and an actual low security prison. But oh well. So did you graduate high school?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Went to college? Where'd you go?
Georgetown, down in Washington, D.C.
Fancy.
Cost a lot of money.
What
Still
do
paying it.
you go to Georgetown for?
I ended up, I got in to go for business school. Took one accounting class, recognized that I was not going to make it through business school with my sanity intact, and I switched to anthropology with the intention of going to law school. And as college would go on, I mean, I was gambling the entire time. My focus was never really strong enough on the academics that I felt, good about it. So I took the classes, but couldn't tell you a thing that I learned really at this point.
Did you graduate college?
I did.
So you went through the whole 4-year degree, and it's not even really what you're doing now?
Nothing to do with what I'm doing now. I could have skipped it completely. When I think about it, I always would have graduated, but I think it did a little bit of cosmetic work that it was during COVID, and all the classes got rid of the GPA. So it was just you passed or you failed, but did enough to pass.
I was even reading some of these Ivy League schools were getting rid of the SATs, but I guess now they're bringing it back. I think, what was it, Harvard or Yale or something tried that?
I think a lot of schools kind of dropped it as a requirement, but they allowed you to send it in optionally, and then they kind of picked and choose from there. I don't know what the intention is, maybe to try to get specific demographics more or less. I'm not sure.
If you could do it all again, would you go to college?
Knowing what I know now, definitely not. Had I kept the intention of actually following through to law school, I would have done the same thing. But knowing that I make content about gambling addiction, I definitely could have skipped the bill.
What about your kids? When you have kids down the road, if you want kids, would you send them to college?
It would be very situational. I mean, there's professions where you have to go. Science, doctor, lawyer, things where you need the advanced degree to qualify to do the job. But for the most part, I think you can pretty much learn most of the things you want to learn without going to school for it. I mean, you've got a news level setup in here, and I don't know if you went to production school for it, but it looks like you're doing good.
You learn on YouTube.
Exactly.
You can learn so much on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
It's insane. So everyone in addiction, or even people that went to prison, they always have kind of like that one defining moment where something triggered them to try the thing that they would later become addicted to. What was that for you?
I think it was a reflection of growing up in near the Philly area. So when we think of our sports teams, it's the Phillies, Flyers, Sixers, Eagles. Every event in that area is gathered around a sporting event. So if you want to have a family gathering, it's going to happen on a Sunday. It's going to start at 1 because that's when the Eagles kick off. If you're going to hang out with your boys on a Friday, you're going to meet up for drinks at 7 because that's when the Phillies game starts. And naturally, watching all the games, you think you're developing this really intense knowledge of the sport. Like, the more I watch, the more I should know. And you get this belief once, you see all these ads of, if I know a lot about this sport, maybe I can make a lot of money gambling on it. Or at the time that I was doing it, playing fantasy sports on it. So I thought to myself, wow, I can keep doing what I've always done with my friends, and now I can make money while I do it. Like, it was a no-brainer at the time. Working jobs like working at an ice cream shop, you're making $8 an hour. Now all of a sudden you could do a $5 entry and you could win, say, $100, just doing what you perceive to love to do. And I think that was my defining. It wasn't necessarily one moment, it was one opportunity of, I can take my daily routine, my daily schedule, and take it to a level where I can make money doing it. People talk about what they want to do for work, like, what's your dream job? It's to do something you love and get paid for it. At the time, I loved to watch sports, and I thought I could get paid for watching it.
So when you first started out gambling and putting your feet into it, were you just winning all of the time? Because, like, I feel like if you start gambling and you start losing, you're not going to have that mentality of, oh, this could be a potential business.
Absolutely. So when I started the daily fantasy sports, it was more or less breaking even. But when I shifted into sports betting, just a couple months after that, that was the period of time where Kevin Durant was on the Warriors, and I think they won 73 games out of the 82 that they played, and I kept betting on the Warriors. So it was like I kept winning, and I thought to myself, oh, it's because I have this advanced knowledge of basketball, or I'm great with statistics. Like, I knew they would come back and win this game. They just happened to have statistically one of the best years ever, and I used that to reason with myself to say I was a good gambler because I saw that opportunity.
And what was your tactic? Are you betting the money line? Are you playing points? What are you looking at? Where are you getting your information from?
It would delve into everything by the end of it, but looking back at them, it would be to wait until halftime, because statistically, I believe this is verifiable. They were the best third quarter team ever, and they would always somehow find themselves in a close game or slightly down at halftime, seemingly, from what I would watch. And so I'd bet the money line when it was live, and it was a better price. I perceived it as.
And what was your typical bet?
At that time, it was smaller amounts because it was still really early on. And as we go a little bit deeper into the story, I'll kind of get a little bit more vague as to the amounts, not out of necessarily embarrassment, but I find that with addiction, people are always looking for a reason to keep going, and I certainly did. So when I would hear that people lost huge amounts of money, I'd say to myself, oh, well, that's what addiction is. My addiction's not an addiction. Mine's just I'm on a cold streak or I'm losing. They lost real big amounts of money. And so I just don't like to give people, that reason to continue justifying their gambling, because it might not be as long as mine got.
Now, when you first started out, are you doing it on the phone? Are you going into a casino? Are you going to a private bookie? What did that look like?
So when I first started out, I was 18, and then 19 was when I got into regular sports betting. So I couldn't go to an in-person casino because here, it's 21. But I was doing a little bit with a bookie and a little bit on a site called Bovada, or most of it on a site called Bovada, which kind of operates in a legal gray area, and it's out of Latvia. In certain jurisdictions in the U.S., like Washington, D.C., at the time where I was going to school, you could use Bovada legally. There was nothing illegal about using it, even though I was 19. And it's regular sports betting. It was casino games, slots, blackjack, like everything, all online. And I used the bookie for larger bets because I was gambling money I didn't have. And he would extend, the standard credit line that you'll see with the bookie. It's not like you have to make a deposit like you do at an online casino and you gamble with that. They'll say, yeah, you can wager up to, $2,500 this week, say, for example, or $1,000, whatever it might have been at the time. So it was a mixture of high frequency online and bigger bets with the bookie.
I've heard of Bovada because in prison, that's what guys would use to sports bet on their burner cell phones, but their Boost Mobile Boost Mobile phone plans on these burner phones, because Bovada used to be one of the first sports gambling like online in the country.
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that, because I think of that viral video clip of the guy that was placing a parlay from, I guess, what would it be called, a conjugal visit?
I don't think there's not conjugal visits in the feds. I don't know how it is in the state.
I'm not sure what it was called necessarily, but he was talking to someone and he was giving them a list of things to bet on, and he was getting recorded while he did it, and then the parlay hit, and people were saying like, oh, this guy just got himself bail or something for the parlay.
Yeah, sports betting is huge.
Really?
Like, it is one of the biggest hustles if you have the ticket. I got into it. That's where I first started to learn how to sports bet. Or I don't even know if learn's the right word, but just I would go show up. My bunkmate was like the bookie at one point. I would show up with like 30 or 40 pouches of fish or books of stamps, and they would have so much commissary, especially during football season. My first bet was like a 7 or 8 pick, and I almost hit it, but then the Suns blew it. At the end, I was just picking random stuff. It was all luck. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even watch the games. But those, like, everyone's writing down their ticket. The bookies would go to the library, print out the spread, and pass it around, and then everyone would fill it out on a little thing, submit it, and it was just like this whole big thing. The guy would keep records in a notebook. Guys were making thousands of dollars being the bookie. It's just like this whole, it's crazy. It's amazing.
It's kind of surreal to hear that because I don't have much knowledge at all regarding prisons, but you don't really imagine that's happening as someone outside of Canada. That's everything.
Maybe you make some content talking about bookies versus in the real world versus bookies in prison or something.
This is going to be a clip for sure.
Definitely. So break us down how it works with a bookie, because I feel like America has a general idea from movies of what it's like to deal with a bookie. Like we see the movie The Gambler and everything like that. What's a real life experience? How do you find them and how does it work?
I mean, I'm sure that there's big time mob boss type bookies, but my guy was the guy I worked with at a golf course. He was not intimidating at all. Essentially, they become agents of a larger bookmaker, and the larger bookmaker funnels it down to the next agent. And essentially what an agent is a bookie, and they're given certain amounts of credit they're allowed to assign. They can ask their higher-ups, for lack of a better word, for more credit to extend to their players, and then they get a percentage of the losses, then it trickles up, and the high man collects the big stuff. But essentially, you say, okay, I want to gamble. Maybe it's a guy you work with, his friend of a friend who's a manager at a restaurant who happens to be an agent, and the agents will assign you credit on the site. So say it's $1,000 you get weekly. You'll start playing on, say, a Monday, and then as soon as Sunday comes, whatever your amount was, it could be negative 1,000. You could have lost it all, or say you won a little bit, and it's plus 500. At Sunday, it cuts off. It resets back to that regular credit line, and you either send them what you've lost, or they would theoretically pay you what you won. And it typically functions on a 1-week cycle, which actually, now that I think about it, led to a problem for me. And it was a very early sign of my gambling addiction, was that I had won 1 week, and then there was some type of delay. Like, I was away, I had to come pick it up as cash, and I couldn't get it for a week. So in my head, I had, say it was $500 to play with. I was like, oh, well, I can gamble this week more because, I can lose that, it's whatever. It kind of gave me extra reasons to continue to play because I hadn't collected the money. I didn't have it yet. So it didn't feel like it was mine.
Yeah, you're always, with addiction, especially gambling, you're kind of always looking for an excuse as to why to double down on that bet or whatever move you're going to make next, or why you need to take this money to put it onto this, or there's always some kind of psychological aspect that comes with it.
The human brain is incredible, and we can talk ourselves into doing almost anything given the right set of circumstances. And when your brain becomes adapted to get such a strong thrill from gambling, and all you want to do is gamble because everything else feels like subpar, suboptimal, you will find a way to talk yourself into placing that next bet. Even though, you lost your last 10, a week ago you were in debt, you were getting texts from a bookie saying you owed money, your mom's disappointed with you, she's crying because you just lost a bunch, and you told her about it, and then a couple days go by and you're like, I want to feel good again. Oh, it's fine because this settled over here, or this guy owes me this, I can use this to place a bet. It's mental gymnastics, but you find your way right back to it.
So these bookies are sending money electronically too, like PayPal, Venmo, Cash App?
Yeah, it's very low security. I mean, they might Venmo you and say it's for like lunch.
So what are they sending out 1099s at the end of the year too? If they're putting a paper trail?
I mean, I have to imagine the majority of it's done in cash. I lost much more than I won, so most of it was me sending it, yeah.
But I imagine on their end, though, like, they're getting all those transactions. like from their standpoint, they're getting, if there's 10 of you sending them money, that adds up.
Yeah, there's probably certain thresholds that at certain points they would say, you know, I can only accept cash or crypto payment. Like, they probably vary it, I would guess, but I never was on the bookmaking side.
Yeah, so these guys, what would have happened if you didn't pay them?
At this low level, probably just a lot of complaining. But, you know, if things got a little bit more intensive, if the prices started to go up, the amounts wagered would go up, then, you know, you hear the stories in support groups, especially from, like, the old-timers that really did the majority of their gambling with bookmakers, that they would threaten to break their car or they would threaten to break their leg. Like, the things that you see in the movies probably aren't very far off from reality. But again, it's at the level that I was using a bookie, it was just, hey man, can you please send me a Venmo because it's a couple days late.
And what, are they charging interest or a big on that at all?
I didn't get down far enough, but I would imagine that there was probably interest. I was actually very fortunate that, well, not fortunate, but the times that I went into debt, I had someone bail me out in the sense that they paid it and then I paid them back. So I didn't have to deal with shady characters or even on the banking side, like high interest rates. I got off very, very lightly on that, but I wouldn't have if I continued.
So when you're like a normal person off the street and you go to, say, a bookmaker, no matter what level, how do they set the credit line if they have no idea who you are?
Word of mouth. I'd say, you know, when I met the guy that was my bookie and we were working together at the golf course, he knew how much I was making because he was working the same job. There's probably a realistic degree of certainty you can have about the lines that you extend to know that you'll actually get paid with him, and I'm comfortable sharing that.
Yo.
What you doing with?
Eating Rochi, what's good?
Oh, smoking there. Split.
What, you trying to smoke split for me?
Nah, not right now. I'm kind of stuck up. If you come over here, yeah, but I can't come over there. I got one door.
Well, it's raining, and I got no. I couldn't walk, though.
I'm in the Uber.
Come on,
put it on. Come on.
I don't get paid till Friday, so I'm kind of short right now. I was saying that the other day. I got exactly what I need to get to work for the week, you know what I'm saying?
I know.
I just paid for Dahlia flight and shit to come here in a few weeks.
That's what's up.
So, you know, summertime shit. Summertime shit.
I see you doing big things.
Yeah. Not yet. Soon.
Well, you get in that direction, though.
Oh, yeah. That's for sure.
That's what's up.
Word. It is definitely
Let me call this Germs and see what he's doing. Hold on. Hold on.
Yeah. What's up, bro?
Don't start that Bucky boy shit. Hey, feel it coming. You can't help it. There's no man around you, so you can't help it. You gotta talk me and Ben, right? You might hear both of our voices, don't you? You're a little weirdo. A little fucking weirdo. I just wanted Dan to hear when you told me. Nah, you wanted to hear our boyfriend that's keeping you in the rain, bro. I just wanted. You wanted to hear our voice. That's what it was, right? Ben, that's what it is. He's outside. He just wanted to talk to us. Nah, I just wanted low key, he just wanted to chat to us a little bit.
You want to chat with us, bro? That's what it is?
You doing good, Paul? You alright? You good? You good? The fucking guy.
Yeah, I'm good.
This guy, Paul. Nigga said, I know what he called me for. No Bati boy shit, please.
You can't help it. He has an accent. He wants to call us.
Yeah, I can't even get a fucking word out, bro.
Everything you were about to say, I said it, bro. You saw it, right? That's 2 steps ahead of you, bro.
Let me see, you got your shit figured out, Paul. Fuck out of here. So, yeah, that's not happening.
I told him before though. I told Carlos before. I said, bro, listen, like, you know, I understand, like, you gotta, you know, you do what you had to do, and you know, I don't know why you did it that way, but what the fuck you talking about?
Bro, I don't know.
What the fuck is he talking about?
That's what I'm trying to tell you, my nigga. Paul be doing his own thing.
Yeah, I thought he was there fantasizing, bro. He called us. He gonna complete that fantasy.
Just imagine people who don't know us, the way we talk about us, they probably think we retarded, bro.
No, I already passed that when we were in Atlantic City, bro. I like, thank God these motherfuckers ain't taking him serious. We'd be locked up in no time. All we needed is someone to die in that casino that day. All we needed, bro, was our bodies just pop up, bro.
Yeah, all we needed, like, that's life. Like, what are you talking about?
Nigga, they're gonna spit you out.
It's Atlantic City, bro. You don't think it's a possibility? Like, what you mean? Like, how you tell?
Nigga, you in the building, Paul. Anything's possible. Nigga telling people he's serial killer and shit.
You know what I mean, bro?
So it's possible that you guys drive around with dead bodies, huh?
Bro, imagine if that would really happen, and bro, we got ran up on like FBI on our way back drinking beers and so much stuff and shit.
What if we turn around and Paul just running?
Definitely.
What would you do, Carl? Turn around, Paul just running. I'm talking about like full speed.
What you mean? I'm running too.
Oh no. I'm gonna look at the top of your bro. I don't know why they running. I don't got no parts.
Nah, I'm not gonna run, but I'm definitely gonna be in shock because they're gonna run up on us crazy. It's okay. When they find a body, bro, it's a different. They'll just pull you over regular, bro. They pull you out guns blazing, tell you don't move a fucking finger.
Yeah, you about to shit yourself.
I'm talking about pistol in your face, talking about get the fuck out the car type shit. And that's the energy they're gonna come at us, and we're gonna be like, what the fuck?
I'm gonna be like, what the fuck?
Over here talking about he got bodies in there.
I'm already gonna know it's Paul. As soon as they pull us over, and we with Paul, already know what time it is.
I'm coming to help you.
Yo.
I'm gonna look over and be like, this nigga Paul. That's what I'm gonna do.
Fuck around one of the workers the day before cut his finger, had blood all in the back of the van or some shit.
What? That never happened.
Well, that's it, imagine. Like,
I think it's that never happened.
If it were to happen, I'd fucking throw his ass on the side of the road.
What?
You see? And they ain't threw him on the side of the road. So they're gonna backtrack that too, ready to the van. They're gonna have the van already. They're looking for the van for that shit.
This nigga said about to backtrack.
By that time, I had somebody else driving the van. Oh yeah. This is all planned out.
You see, I'm not driving Paul van no more.
Exactly.
It's too late
You
already.
are liable for murder at any point.
Paul got me locked up in no time.
Quick fast.
Paul was claiming it wasn't him too. I'm like, damn.
That Rick. What was his name?
But see, the good thing is that everything's in your name. So I was like, brother, saying in my van, bro, he made me drive this shit, bro. He's home.
No, bro. You guys don't understand. My name is an entity. It's
that's
not
what he gonna
me.
Like, it don't matter. I was like, he hold me hostage. Let him say, real quick.
My name is an
like,
entity.
This dude held me hostage. Look at her. I'm like, I don't know this dude.
My name is only an entity.
There's no recordings of me knowing at all.
Carlos, I told you months and months and months ago that nigga Paul name probably ain't even Paul, bro. I told you. I told you this months ago. That nigga name probably not even Paul. They be like, Paul Miller? Who's that?
This motherfucker been Pascal the whole time or some shit.
Nigga said, we have a Jawan Bauer here. Who the fuck is that?
Who the fuck?
Paul Miller.
Yeah. He from... And we find out he not even Jamaican, bro.
That nigga not even Jamaican. Like,
yeah, that motherfucker Haitian or some shit. Like,
oh, shit. That nigga was lying this whole time.
That motherfucker's name is Jean Claudin. I'm French, nigga. And my parents were Turkish. And I grew up in America. There you go. He told us the truth out there.
Yeah, Paul. Here we go. Here comes the truth now.
The truth?
Yeah, the truth, nigga.
Truth is I'm an alien.
Now this nigga's an alien, Carlos. I can't with this nigga, bro.
You already know you're an alien. You're not from this country.
I know you're alien because I think he'll drink water. That's how I know.
Oh, they facts, bro.
That nigga don't drink no water, my nigga. How he alive?
The other day, bro, I felt we was doing something. We were working, bro. I was thirsty as fuck, bro. Thirsty, bro. And we burned stuff. We working, right? I'm dry, bro. Sweating. I told Paul I'm thirsty. He acting like it's something like I said some crazy shit, bro. Hours go by, we don't get no water. And finally, we finally go get some drinks. Like, oh, I'm gonna get you your water. Like, it's just like, and he don't get no water. He gets Coke. Small Coke. He takes 2 sips. He don't even finish it, bro. He took like 2 sips. I don't even know if he took 2 sips. I saw him take 1, to be honest with you. He took more than that, bro. I'm assuming he took more than that, because he spilled most of it, and then the other half, I asked him one, he said no, and we left him there. He didn't even touch it. Dude not human, bro. The dude, and then he go and drink a 6-pack, bro. And still don't be thirsty for no water, bro. Oh, so you watch it,
Nigga, I told you, I only seen Paul drink water 1 time. And that's the time.
The only reason I was paying attention, bro, is because I was sitting there mad thirsty. And I was thinking to myself, how is this motherfucker not thirsty? Like, how are you not thirsty at all? Like,
ever.
At all. At all.
Not just today, ever.
A little bit? You know why? Because you guys never starved before. That's
what? Here you go. Now we never starved before.
Well, you know, there's actually a scientific fact proven that sometimes you think you're hungry, but it's just because you're thirsty. It's like, no.
That nigga's retarded. That nigga said, you never been starving before. What the nigga, food and drink is 2 different things.
What? It's the same thing?
No, it's not. 3 days. 3 days without water, you're dead. 3 weeks without food, you're dead. 3 minutes without air, you're dead. That's the 3s, nigga.
Not Paul. Same shit. You're dead.
No, Paul. You're an alien, Paul. So 7 years with no water, you're alive. I don't understand.
He's not from Earth.
That nigga from inside the crust of Earth, my nigga. He's really an Earthling.
Word. He wanna, bro, that actually make more sense than alien. He wanna, you can't go out there, it's raining. He wanna understand the Earth creatures. He look human, but he really not human. He been to running out of water, so that's why he drink water. You guys drinking the wrong water, that's the problem. That H2O is garbage.
Why are you telling me to hurry up, Paul?
H2O is garbage. I'm mad he called it H2O. Yo, you hear? Listen how you talking. No jacket, don't get wet. This motherfucker said he told her. He was drinking water.
H2O. That's what it is. That nigga sitting in science property, my nigga.
You know what I mean? Like it's something like it's just something that he has absorbed, like he's like observed it and tested it, but he never really drank the shit. Like he called it H2O. It's like it's a science project. It's not. It's a thing.
Carlos?
He experimented with water. He never actually drank the shit though.
No, I think Carlos. I think that this alien nigga has not been beneficial to us enough, and we should report his ass.
Yo, bro, this motherfucker. Wait, I'm gonna go back to the fucking water thing too, bro. This motherfucker goes, oh, I have water in the van. Bro, you go look at the fucking water bottle, bro, and look like he doesn't even drink out the bitch, bro. And look like he opened it and took one sip. I swear to God, bro. And just put it to the side. And ask me, bro, if he ever drank that shit after I was sitting there talking about how thirsty, and he said, I got water. And I asked him, you not thirsty? He said, I got water.
I had another human
I never seen him sip that
water,
shit.
and I had
never once. That's why I was paying attention, because I was waiting for him to sip some water. I'm like, he gotta be thirsty, bro. We out here, like the sun was out, so it's a little warm, and when you working, you start feeling hot, sweating, fucking, you know, no water for hours, bro.
I told you, Carlos, I only said I nigga drink water one time, and that's the time when he took me to the airport when I was going to Miami.
Bro, I think it's a show. I think it's just like pretending human.
Nah, I think he drank the water because he was tired.
Keep up appearance, guys.
What?
Huh?
You have to keep up appearance.
I thought you said you have to keep appearance. I was like, what?
Bro, I don't know.
Here we go with his bullshit again.
I'm gonna say he lost me again with his bullshit.
I was like, here we go with the crazy shit again. It was like, bro, you on Earth now, bro. I don't know where you come from with that shit, bro. Leave that shit over there.
You gonna get free today, Carlos, or you locked up?
What?
No, Carlos.
Locked up, won't let me out.
I got Royal over here cursing me out because I don't want to let him out in the rain to play.
What do you mean? What is he saying?
I promised him Harper I'll take out to
I told him go get his Crocs so he could come outside in like the little sunroom and just be out here chilling with me, right? He can't find his Crocs, so I told him go get his Paw Patrol shoes. He get his Paw Patrol shoes, he's outside here, and now he wants to go outside in the rain. He's trying to tell me he needs to get his jacket so he can go outside in the rain.
Hey, bro, I love your waterfall.
He's on the steps having a whole conversation. And I don't hear, that's like, I don't know what he's talking about.
He's talking about you, though, right?
Huh?
He talking about you, though.
Yeah, he's trying to tell me something about Royal. Oh my goodness.
You guys have like when you're a kid, put like a bathing suit and go play in the rain?
Put a what?
You ever play in the rain like as a kid?
Yeah, of course.
Like play in a bathing suit and shit type shit. You just go outside and just
In a tropical island, yeah.
That shit Long Beach.
Oh, shit. I did that shit in Trinidad.
I tell you.
Oh.
You want to come outside? You can come outside out here. You cannot go outside out there. It's raining. Royal, you can put your jacket on, but you cannot be in the rain.
I'm trying to hear that shit.
Come on.
Yo, bro, he might as well just tell you, shut up, Paul. I'm going outside at this point. Like, yeah, right, Carlos? Like, he still might, the way he's sounding.
Go play, go.
See?
Go.
Nigga said 9 rain. Yo, bro, little
That
kids.
shit raining.
Nigga said 9 times rain. Nigga said, what's that? Nigga, rain. Nigga, that's a lot of rain. That's what that is, nigga. A lot of rain.
9 rings. 39 of them shit.
Nigga said 9 of them shits, nigga. That's a lot, nigga.
9 so far.
Nigga, 9. Nigga.
9 right there.
Imagine we still calling it. Yo, I see 12 rains when I looked outside. Nigga said 12? Shit, that means it's raining.
It's crazy out here. Yo, you guys are on you guys are all speaker. I didn't hear nothing you guys said for the last 5 minutes.
Nigga, we're laughing at Royal, my nigga. Nigga said it's 9 rains, nigga. What you saying?
Oh. Yo, this nigga just counted the raindrops for a kid with his brother.
I know basketball. Playing basketball?
Yeah, go.
Is it raining?
You can't, in here, you can't go out there.
He's still trying to swindle you, bro. Still. He's learning from the GOAT, Paul Miller. Nigga said basketball? That nigga hit you with the so windy.
Dad, you can't talk, bro. You the number 1 swindler.
No, my nigga, you're the ultimate swindler, my nigga. I might have wrote the book, but you took it to the next level, Steve Jobs. This nigga said, I might have made the cell phone, but you made the iPhone, Papa. That's how I look at it, Papa. This nigga said, that shit rubbing off on Royal. That's how you know you a master. That nigga Royal said, basketball? Nigga Paul said, you want to play? Yeah. Nigga said, he's still trying to go outside. Nigga said, in here.
Here's my opportunity to shine.
That nigga said, that nigga Royal said, nah.
Low key, he gonna get ball. I'm trying to teach him how to shoot and shit. The other day I was trying to, you know how you shoot it up straight with your rotation?
Of course.
You know what I'm talking about?
You talking to me, bro. I shoot better than you, bro.
Yeah. Yo. I don't know if you still can shoot better. Yo, listen.
I definitely still can.
I got you guys on the phone. Listen, let me ask you guys a question. Who is Kyrie Irving? Who the hell is what? Who is Kyrie Irving? And he's a basketball player. I know, but I'm saying, who is he?
I'm not entertaining this nigga Paul, because I already know that this is gonna go somewhere stupid. I'm not wasting my time. So Carlos, you can answer this question, Carlos. Have fun.
Nah, for real. Listen,
I'll leave this in your court.
I've been watching the games. You know? Oh my goodness, you gonna go get it? Yeah. I'm not getting it. Yeah, what happened to Carlos?
Carlos, you there?
I guess his phone died or something. Oh no, I know what happened.
You gotta call him back, because you ain't called him.
Huh?
I said you gotta call him back. Your phone probably dropped it.
I don't want to get nobody in trouble. His boyfriend probably think he's talking to him and I got upset. So leave that alone.
Okay. I see.
You know, he lives with his boyfriend. He didn't blow that. Yeah, it's growing. You know, I tried calling back, but I don't want to get him kicked out, you know.
You might call him back.
They call him back and say, baby.
This nigga said, I don't want to get him kicked out. Yeah, I can't. This is why you don't have friends, my nigga, because they, you know what I'm saying? They treat you like this, and people might actually believe they bullshit stuff. You know what I'm saying? So,
Hold on. I'm gonna call him and see, because, you know, Yo, you alright? My phone died. I just tried. It's okay. Hey, I was telling Dan, maybe your boyfriend. I just turned it back on. As soon as the phone turned on, you called me back. You got a little Yeah, it's like, he couldn't live it up, bro. He had to call me again and say, go right back to it, bro. The Bati shit.
This nigga say you a Bati, Carlos. I'm just here trying to understand what's going on with my friends, that's all. Because last time...
You get it on it too now, huh?
No, I'm not getting on it. I'm just trying to see what's going on, because I want to see you defend yourself. Because the nigga be saying stuff, and then you be answering the phone with the same energy that he was talking about. So sometimes it's just make me a little nervous. I'm like, what's this nigga Paul talking about?
Bro, what are you talking about? I said the same way.
Nigga said he gonna say his phone died because his boyfriend stole his phone and took it off. And then you called and said your phone died when we called. That's why.
And you believe that shit?
No, I just think it's funny that he said that and then you answered the phone just like that. It's just funny. Because if I didn't know you, it'd be sad. Somebody probably like, what? What's going on?
Yeah.
But since I know you, it's like, damn, this nigga Paul really is a swindle artist. You know what I'm saying? Does that make more sense?
Yeah. Yo, what the hell kind of weird shit?
You got the car, Carlos?
Huh?
You got the car?
Go.
Hmm?
Why not? Go.
Carlos, if you got the car, we need to go by Paul because he got all the stuff.
What? You gotta be strong. I can't even go right now with that. This chick's doing about the laundry and shit.
Let me try. Thank you. No.
Told me, so the ball don't go outside. It's gonna go under the car, Royal. I'm not gonna go get it again. That's why you need a car, Dan.
Yeah, I know.
Right. I open the door. And you let the ball outside.
Why?
Don't let the ball outside.
He's still trying to get outside, Carlos, see?
Will not get it for you. That's why. Oh, Rainbow Fire. Okay.
Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining us. Diamond Dynasty Baseball coming your way on the show. It's the Chupacabras going up against... Here's Byron Buxton. The wind of the pitch. Up the middle. Nice grab. Fires to first on the run. Safe. He beats it out, and the go-ahead run is on to start the inning. Stepping in, Mike Cameron. Hard grounder into the outfield for a knock. Throw holds him at second, but the go-ahead run now in scoring position, and still nobody out.
All over that one right there. Really nice job staying up the middle with his approach. He didn't try to do too much with the pitch, just shot it through the infield.
Now a chance for Harmon Killebrew. At the belt and fires. Swings through that one out in front that time.
Out there on the mound, he's setting the tone early with the fastball. 98 miles per hour up on the scoreboard.
Go ahead run at second, and we're just getting started here in the top of the first. Hawks and misses. It's a strikeout. And next will be the cleanup hitter, Romy Gonzalez. And he swings and misses at the initial offering.
So all eyes on the double play ball in this spot. No better way to get out of this inning.
Out towards right center field. And that gets down into the gap. One runs in, runner around third. in to score from first. It's 2-zip.
Oh, a huge 2 RBI swing of the bat right there. I love the approach he had right there with that pitch. Not trying to do too much, but still looking to drive it, and that's exactly what he's able to do into the opposite field gap for the double.
Righty to the plate. Swing and a miss.
Strider out there on the mound for this one, and he's a guy who had a really impressive college career. But he's a Tommy John.
Yes. I heard it too, Carlos.
Go get Albert Carlos and Dan.
Mm-hmm. I heard it.
You hear what you're saying, right? Is that what you're saying? He said no.
He said, yeah. You bugging.
Is that what you're saying, right?
Surgery while playing for Clemson.
Righty delivers. Knocks that one away, and we'll do it again.
You know, Boog, Strider spent time with a sports psychologist at Clemson while rehabbing from his surgery. They talked a lot about the concept of purpose and the importance of having a defined goal for everything you do. You know, it's something Strider now preaches himself.
Puts it in the air out towards left center. And that'll fall for a base hit. Throws to second. And he's out easily. But a run does come in to score. And Gary Sanchez at the plate. You see the velocity 97 with that fastball. Two outs, base is empty. And a pitch. That's foul off to the right side. Keeps the AB going. Comes up empty as he chases that one in the dirt. Darno on to first. And it's in time for the third out, so that'll end the inning. Now it's the right fielder, Ronald Acuna Jr. The line to kick the pitch. Right through there for a strike.
Well, after scoring runs, this is where you're looking for that shutdown inning. Get that hot team back in there to swing the bats.
The pitch. Got him. And one gone. And now the center fielder, Michael Harris. That's in there.
I live right next to Chuck E. Cheese.
One out, base is empty. Bounce to third. Killebrew on to first. 2 up, 2 down. Here's Marcell Ozuna.
Good onside run to that same side hitter right there. Very difficult to put that ball in the air or get through it. Just pours in on the hands.
That one's in there. 0-1. There's the strike.
All right, now, he may have not liked either of those first 2 pitches or agreed with the umpire's calls, but at this point, he's going to have to bear down and be ready to hit anything close to the zone.
Next one misses, and a count 1-2.
1 ball, 2 strikes, Patel.
Swing and a miss. And he's... Welcome back, and we've got a new arm on the mound to start the second. Tyler Matzek.
Bringing in the lefty with the left-handed hitter coming up to hit. Classic bullpen move right here, so we'll see how it works out.
Alex Gordon stands in now and watches strike 1. On the inside corner for a strike.
0-2 count, both pitches on the inside part of the plate. Hitter is thinking, I don't want to get beat here. This is a good time for something off speed away.
Swings and misses, struck him out. And now Jacob Wilson.
doing? Playing Roblox? Oh yeah. Huh?
In the air, pretty deep out to center field. Harris makes the grab, and there's 2 gone. 2 outs, base is empty. Colt Keith will hit next. Gets the slider in there for a strike. Breaking ball inside. And that is ball 1. In the air, left field. Drops for a hit. He couldn't run it down. And he starts his afternoon off right with a double.
This was a really nice swing. Didn't quite get enough behind it to get it out of here, but once it got over his head in left field, it was extra bases all the way.
Buxton now in the box. Comes up empty with a swing there. Swings through that one.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's got good numbers swinging at pitches in that location.
Two outs and 1 in scoring position.
Well, with 2 strikes, you want to stay back long enough for that breaking ball, but he handled a fastball slightly elevated. Good job by the hitter right there to spoil it away.
Man at second. Fights that one away, and the count remains 0-2. And a pitch. Missed inside with the curve.
It's a good take.
Left field. Ozuna should have it. Corrals it. And that is that. We head to the bottom of the second. So now to the plate for Atlanta. Ozzie Albies. Swings and misses. Strike 1. On the ground. Wilson. The throw to first. 1 up, 1 down.
Well, he's doing a nice job of keeping the ball out of the air. Lets the defense work behind him with another ground ball. Good execution.
Austin Riley now at the plate as he swings through strike 1. That clips the corner.
I mean, that's perfect location right on the black. I mean, over and over again, this guy demonstrates the ability to hit those spots. They're so tough to do anything with as a hitter.
Travis d'Arnaud in the box with 2 gone, and takes a look at a called strike. Smoked on the ground a second. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for the Braves. We're back to start the third, and there's a new arm on the mound, Jimmy Herget.
Pretty tight game, so they're looking for quality pitches out of him right here. Got to do his best to keep the score right where it is.
Cameron in the box here, lets that one go for a ball. High in the air, out to right. Acuna after it. Hauls it in, and there's 1 away. Down to third baseman, Harmon Killebrew. That catches the outside corner. It's 0-1. Herget, 30 years old now, and he was a 6th-round draft pick back in 2015. 1 down, base is empty. Swing and a miss, and that one missed by a ton. d'Arnaud on to first, out on the drop, third strike, 2 gone. Romy Gonzalez digs in now. He drove in 2 with a double his first time up. There's the strike. Here's a swing and a miss.
This guy's pounding the zone. Hitters don't have time to think in between pitches.
And down on strike. As we go to the last of the third. And here's the first baseman, Matt Olson. Lee back to work. And first offering is fouled off. Left-hand hitter waits.
Hey. 0-2.
Foul ball. It stays 0-2. drive, base hit. And the leadoff man aboard. Adam Duvall at the plate. Down the middle for a strike. 0-1.
Well, the leadoff man gets on. You want to minimize the threat by playing sound defense. Hopefully the pitcher can get a ball on the ground and they can roll him up for 2.
Swings and misses. Couldn't catch up to the heater. Here's Orlando Arcia. Foul ball there. Emmanuel Clase gets the call from the pen.
Power slider guy, Bo. He throws it hard and gets a lot of late movement, so it's tough to pick up.
Right-handed reliever. Ground ball could be 2. The throw to second. Ow! A double play to end it. A shutout in this one. 3-0 our final score. For Chris Singleton and our entire crew here at MLB The Show, thanks for stopping by. I'm John Shambi. Talk to you soon.
first gambling, I had a $2,500 line of credit a week, which was probably about 4 times more than I could have paid if I had maxed it out every week. And eventually I did, you know.
And if you lost $2,500 a week consistently, that's a lot of money.
And as an 18-year-old working for $15 an hour, it starts to feel like an insurmountable amount of money at a certain point.
Was there ever a time where, you know, you went up to a situation and said,
from beautiful Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts, the show brings you Diamond Dynasty Baseball. It's Long Island and the Boston Red Sox. First pitch coming your way next. Okay, all set to go. Now it's the DH, Byron Buxton. And a pitch. Just off the outside edge. And we are underway. And another ball.
2 balls, no strikes.
Kicks and deals. Late with the swing there.
He got away with one there, but he knows he can't go into that spot very often against a guy like this.
Now this is in the air down the line. O'Neill under it. One down. And here is Mike Camrick. Ripped on the ground a second. Slings to first. Play is made, 2 outs. Now at the plate, Harmon Killebrew. That one is absolutely belted. And it bangs off the out-of-town scoreboard.
Didn't take long to get a result for that at bat. Anytime you smoke a ball off the wall, you kind of think about what it could have been, but obviously you have to be happy with that result.
And here is Romy Gonzalez. And it drops in. And that moves the go-ahead run to scoring position with 2 gone.
First pitch swinging, went up there with a plan to be aggressive. With the way defenders track down balls these days, I mean, both from the infield and in the outfield, there really aren't a lot of base hits on balls hit like that. But there's always a little...
Now this ball is down and could score a run. Killebrew coming around third. And he's out.
Last second, and then there's a whole
digging in, it's the speedy outfielder, Jarren Duran. The lefty fires. And that's off the inside edge. And that's ball 1. Bounce to the left side. Wilson. And a quick out, number 1. And now the catcher comes up to him. Connor Wong. There's the strike. Swing and a miss.
Wow, good luck catching up to that one.
And a ground ball to first. Gonzalez takes it himself, and that quickly 2 away. Here's Tyler O'Neill. Just missed. 2 outs, base is empty. Strike 2.
Man, that pitch was dotted. So much talent on display when this guy's out there on the hill.
And now 2-2.
It's a good take.
Cuts and misses. It's a... Welcome back, and we've got a new arm on the mound to start the second. Chase Anderson. Gary Sanchez at the plate. As he turns on the rubber, and with that good live arm delivers. And it's through for a hit. Off to a good start with a leadoff nod.
Well, clearly he was ready to hit right there. There was nothing cheap about the way he got that one through the infield. That was ripped. Caught out in front and didn't get under it like he would have liked. But
swung out, belted. Deep. That one went back there. And that one's going to land not so much here, but here. Now it's the shortstop, Jacob Wilson. Ripped into right center. And that should be extra bases. Now he'll turn for second. And he starts his afternoon off right with a double.
That's now 3 hits.
Stepping in, the long ball threat, Colt Keith. Hammered on a line to the left, base hit. And they get it in quickly. First and third now with nobody out. So the batting order turns over. Now here is Byron Buxton. A big swing and a miss.
It's 0-1.
Good eye in that spot.
The real threats are coming up. Already giving up a home run in this inning. It's going to really have to bear down.
Strike 2.
Well, in this situation with a runner on first, less than 2 outs, some say, hey, get the ground ball, double play with 2 strikes. Some people say get the strikeout. I think you just execute your pitch, make the best pitch you possibly can, and let the result be whatever it's going to be.
They tried to get him to chase on a slider down and away. High chopper to third. Fires to second for 1. To first, not in time. Great effort there. Now it's the power speed combo. Mike Cameron. He's 0 for 1. And a foul ball.
I'm just waiting for a foul ball up here. I mean, this is one of the best places to be ready and to have a foul ball opportunity. We got a great view of the action.
Up the middle. That's a base hit. Run scores.
Comes through with the RBI. Couldn't get any air under it, but he smoked that ball back up the middle. Timing was just perfect. Got great wood on it, and there's just no chance for the infielders with how hard he hit it.
It was in this ballpark. You and I were working together in the 2013 Division Series. And he swings and lifts one to deep center field. And a base hit.
2 consecutive base hits.
New pitcher for the Red Sox, number 63.
Really tough spot to come into out of the bullpen. Bases loaded with multiple outs to get in a tight ball game. A lot can happen right here.
And here it comes. Puts a bunt down. Over to Cooper, but the runner scores from third. Thought they had a shot at him at the plate. So digging in, Will Brennan. 1 for 1 with a single so far. And now a bunt, but it's a foul ball. My partner doesn't always remember things in the game that have to do with it. Really quickly, who was your first big league hit against? Kevin Appier.
Kevin Appier. See, I wasn't ready for that. That's just wrong, man.
And look out, as that one ran in and got him. He had 2 strikes on him, and he hit him. Here's Gary Sanchez now. 1 for 1 with a single and a run scored so far. A bunt and it's popped up. Makes a nice running catch. And that'll do it. Back here in Boston, here's a big power threat. Rafael Devers. Wouldn't chase that time. Next offering is in for a strike.
Here's a player known for playing better in day games, which is not always the case. I mean, day games are different, Boog. Things change from game times to your daily routine, but he sure makes the transition look easy.
Next offering is downstairs.
Really good take, especially with 2 strikes.
Just missing there. And that's ball 3. Payoff pitch. Hammered, base hit. So a runner aboard to start the inning.
Well, that'll make you feel good as a hitter right there. Just a solid swing right there. Caught it out front and ripped it into the outfield for the base hit. Those always feel great.
Masataka Yoshida at the plate now as he chases after that one. The pitch. Gets a piece and stays alive. The pitch. Caught him looking for the K. And now it's Garrett Cooper up to him. Edge of the zone for a strike. 0-1. And he gets back in. Outside low, and it's 1-1.
Now, these guys definitely looking for a big swing of the bat right here. Try to close that gap. But, you know, at the very least, if you could find a way to manufacture that run from first, it feels like it's really important to getting back into this ballgame.
Under it. Brings it in. Oh, the throw is wild. So, man aboard. Here's the second baseman. Right side, Keith. They take the force out. That's out number 3. We're back to start the third, and there's a new arm on the mound, Greg Weisser.
And we all know about his slider. It's just filthy, man. And one of the better ones in the game, I'd say. Spin rate's very high, and it just breaks a ton.
Ground ball up the middle. That's a base hit. Man aboard on the leadoff single. So up next, Jacob Wilson. Doubled in his first AB. That one outside, and that's ball 1. Weisser, a righty that throws with power. He features a sinker, a slider, a four-seamer, and he works in a changeup. Kicks and fires. In the air, right field. O'Neill getting an angle on it. Makes the catch for the out. 1 away. Now it's the second baseman, Colt Keith. And he's already singled in this game. And first offering is fouled off. Left-hand batter waits. Gordon stands at first with 1 out.
Straighten him up a little bit.
One, 2 now. And that's downstairs and outside. And down on strikes he goes. 2 down. So the lineup flips over. Here's Byron Buxton. Drilled out towards left center field. That's well struck. And that should be extra bases. Lead runner gets the stop sign at third. It's a 2-out double. Second and third now. Chris Martin on the pitch out of the pen here.
And this is a really tough spot to come into as he tries to keep this one close. You almost have to forget about the runners in scoring position. They're not going anywhere.
And there's the third out. That'll do it for the inning. And stepping in for Boston, Vaughn Grissom.
The shortstop, Vaughn
A wind in the pitch. And there's a strike.
This guy's got such a good sinker. As a hitter, you've got to look up in the zone. If you look down, you're going to be chasing stuff in the dirt.
That's down. That's
And that one's a little bit low. And 1-1. And a pitch. Gets a piece there. We'll do it again. Ground ball right side. Gonzalez takes it to the bag. One gone, bottom of the third inning. Now it's Dominic Smith.
No, he didn't recognize changeup earlier enough. Got out in front a little bit, rolled over on it, and beat it into the ground.
Missed with a changeup. Ball one. And that clips the inside corner. The Red Sox down by 4 here in the last half of the third. Fly ball down the line. Can't get there, and now maybe extra bases. And he's got a double. Throw is high and over his head.
Just a cookie down the middle. I mean, those are the ones you dream about. The ones in the cage, you're just hoping you get in the ball game. Right down the middle, not a whole lot of velocity, right on top of it.
Duran in the box now. No balls and a strike. That one's in there, and that is strike 2.
These fans, they are ready to cheer about something.
That's up. That's the ball.
Just misses with that one. That's off the mark. Ball 2. Smith leads off second with 1 gone in the inning. Swing and a ground ball out to short. To first, and he beats it. Everyone's safe. Connor Wong up next for the Red Sox. That clips a corner. 1 out. Runners at first and second. Swing and a miss. 0-2.
Oh, he's really working that inside corner with the cutter. I tell you what, I hated that pitch. So tough to get the barrel to and to keep it fair.
Hauls it in for the out. Last out for the Red Sox in this one. Tyler O'Neill up next for the Red Sox. He struck out swinging at his first at bat. Swing and a miss. And that is strike 1.
0-1.
Just missed.
That's the ball.
And there's the strike.
Man, I'm pretty impressed out there on the mound right now. I mean, these are tough spots where...
And a swing and a miss, and that is the ball game. A 4-0 shutout in this one. For Chris Singleton and our entire outstanding crew here at MLB The Show, I'm John Shambi saying so.
And that was just bleeding money, and I just had money from investors coming in. But the wins felt like that. And that was, I was working. I looked at that as a job, going to the casino, just like a part of my life. I would pencil that into my weekly schedule to go there. I would take ticket money and just go there because that was, once it worked once, it was programmed into my mind like this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and this worked before, so it'll work again. And it did work for a while, but where things went south was when it stopped working. And that's when you get into a dangerous zone. And you see these guys that win all the time, and they're great, like the professional gamblers, whether it's a skill or luck or whatever you want to call it. They're winning, but what people don't show is that could easily be swept around to losing. And a lot of the world is losing, because those guys that win are one of a kind.
Yeah, you see, everything you see online now is just, it's glorifying gambling, but more it's just showing, like, it's supposed to be normal to win, and it's not. You're not supposed to win, but when every video you see is like big win, jackpot, crazy blackjack hand, or God forbid the guys that are streaming for 3 hours of them putting $10,000 on a slot bonus every single 5 minutes that go by, that becomes the new normal, and it's just like, it's the extreme.
Yeah, and you see celebrities like Drake betting easily a $1 million bet here. Dave Portnoy bet that college basketball ticket the other day, $600,000, got $2 million. Like, that's just normal. But they're
people avoid, I'm not going to talk someone down that doesn't want to quit gambling, but just someone who's like, this has been a problem for a while now. Maybe it's that extra kick to get them, thinking about help.
Describe what it's like to chase a loss. Like when you're losing and you have to keep doubling down and putting bad money with good money. Have you had moments like that before?
Absolutely. No one that I know likes to admit when they're wrong. Me specifically, I can think back to when I was even very young and I would change the rules in a wiffle ball game, even though everyone had the same rules. I was like, no, it was different because I couldn't bear losing. Anytime that I would lose anything, I would throw a tantrum, I'd be upset, and that morphed into eventually when I was an adult and I was gambling. I could never stop because then
Less than 2 miles south of the United States Capitol, welcome to Nationals Park. MLB The Show brings you Diamond Dynasty Baseball. It's Long Island and the Washington Nationals. All right, we'll be back to get this one started after this. All right, ready to go here. Here's Byron Buxton. Here comes a pitch. Swings and misses. And it's 0-1.
0 balls, 1 strike.
Comes up empty. That's strike 2.
Man, 91 on the slider right there. That's a hard one. That's a low-end fastball for some pitchers.
Swing and a ball hit out towards left center field. He's got it. And there's one down.
Every day during batting practice, these outfielders get about 10 minutes of balls in the gaps. They practice this, and when the game comes, they make the play perfectly.
On the ground to third. Senzel over to first. And he's out.
Good fade and sinking action of that changeup. Got that hitter to roll over.
Here's some real power at the plate. Harmon Killebrew. And he hits a ground ball right side. And that'll do it. We go to the bottom of the first. And the batter now, Lane Thomas. And he deals. Pitch misses. Ball 1. That one hit the knees for a strike.
1-1.
The pitch. That one catches the zone. Going to count 1-2. Swings through it, and that's a strikeout. Here's the center fielder. First pitch misses. 1 out, bases empty. Drag bunt back towards the mound. Whips it to first on the run. He is safe, and he beats the throw by a whisker. Now it's Nick Senzel. Fly ball to right. He's under it. He's got it. Here's C.J. Abrams to hit. That's in there. Strike 1.
This might be a steal situation, but that's not your average catcher behind the dish. You have to be careful here.
Got him looking. And that's the third out. New inning getting started. And now the first baseman, Romy Gonzalez. Gore back to work. Fouled off down the right side.
You know, this guy's great speed is in the back of that pitcher's mind. If he can get on, it's going to give him one more thing he's got to think about.
And a pitch. Out to short. Abrams. Zips it across. 1 out in second. And now the right fielder, Will Brennan. Pitches in the dirt. And that is ball 1. And a swing and a miss.
Gonna really need to hang in there with that front side against this left-handed breaking ball.
And that one lifted in the air center field. He's under it. Makes the grab. That's out number 2. And here comes the power hitting catcher, Gary Sanchez. Fouled off. He was late. And the 0-1. Swing and a miss as he was late that time.
Gosh, a little late on that breaking ball. I don't think he recognized it out of the hand. Just a little tardy. We'll have to regroup here.
The pitch. Got it fouled for the K. Back here in Nationals Park. Bottom of the second. Up now for Washington, Stone Garrett. There's the strike. Ball one low.
That's the ball.
The pitch. Slice to right. Fair ball. And that's a leadoff double.
He was all over that one. Showed a willingness to drive that pitch the opposite way. Didn't get jumpy, didn't try to pull the ball. He let it get deep, took the barrel right to it, and then extended through the swing for the line drive base hit.
Go ahead run in scoring position. Nobody out. Bottom half of inning number 2.
As a pitcher, you know the runner on second is ready to push things with his speed. A base hit's probably going to be a big run, so you really have to execute on the mound.
And there's one down.
Yeah, that was a wasted RBI opportunity, but a competitor like him, he is looking forward to making up for it in his next at-bat.
Ildemaro Vargas in the box now. Takes strike 1. And a strike in there.
Well, don't expect too many more high fastballs. This is a good sinker ball pitcher, and
got him looking. That's the second out. Next to hit, Alex Call. And the first pitch misses for ball 1. Man on second, 2 down. And that one fouled off. Here's a 1-1. That's ripped into the outfield. And that is the third out of the inning. We're back to start the third, and there's a new arm on the mound, Jacob Barnes.
Now pitching for the Nationals, number 59, Jacob Barnes.
And now, Alex Gordon. And a pitch. Here's a high fly ball out to center. And there's one away. And the batter will be the shortstop, Jacob Wilson. That's to third. Tosses to first. And there's 2 away. Here's the second baseman, Colt Keith.
Well, there's a lot riding on that at bat right there. A nice job of the pitcher to bear down, make the pitch, get the ground ball. Excellent piece of work.
2 down, nobody on. We're here in the top half of inning number 3. Oh and 2 now. Upstairs. Swing and a miss, and he got him. Back in Washington, D.C., set for the bottom of the third, and here's the catcher, Riley Adams. Breaking ball through there for a strike.
I mean, that's perfect location, right on the black. I mean, over and over again, this guy demonstrates the ability to hit those spots. They're so tough to do anything with as a hitter.
Pitch is in there. 1 and 2. And downstairs. And a pitch. Swing and a miss, struck him out.
Now back, the designated hitter.
So the Nats lineup turns over. And now the DH, Lane Thomas. And fouled off.
Trying to keep good speed off the bases.
One down, base is empty. And a swing and a miss there.
Well, this can be kind of frustrating for the hitting coach. Right now, this lineup seems to be swinging at everything.
Swing and a ground ball to the middle. That's a base hit.
There you go. Winning run is aboard with one down. Just kept it simple. Played pepper with the middle of the infield.
There goes the runner. Down the line. And that drops foul. And that's outside. And the count is 1-1.
If you're a base runner, you got.
Runner goes again. Pitch in for a strike. Sanchez throws. Too late. Stolen base. The winning run on second base. Keeps the at-bat going with a foul ball. And now the lefty. Got him. Outside pitch got the better of him that time. Here's the third baseman, Nick Senzel. Outside low. 1-0. Right through there for a strike. Pitch misses, and that's ball 2. Keith. In plenty of time to first. That's the third out. Welcome back, and now on the mound to start the fourth. And now it's going to be Byron Buxton.
A chance for more damage right here. A couple of RBIs for him in his last AB.
Ball off foul. Man at second. Bounce to the right. Vargas. That's the first out in the top of the fourth. Now the number 2 hitter, Mike Cameron, struck out looking his first time. Line drive, that's a base hit. Aim to score from third, and it's 1-0.
Always feels amazing getting a job done when the team needs you to come through. It's just bigger than your own individual stats. I don't know how he's able to shoot that pitch the other way and still put something on it. That pitch was inside, and he let it get really deep, so pretty incredible hands to fight it off and still get good wood on it.
Oh, and that deflects off his glove. And they get the out after the ricochet. So here's the cleanup hitter, Romy Gonzalez. 0 for 1 so far. Lined, and that's a base hit. Rounds third, headed for the plate. He'll score easily, and they lead by 2.
Picks himself up an RBI. So impressive that he didn't get tied up.
Derek Law will take over here.
Just trying to keep this one close here, and this is where a bullpen can give their players a chance to fight back into the game.
Runner at first with 2 away. Now it's the right fielder, Will Brennan. Law picks over, and he's back in easily.
Base runner with a one-way lead right there. All he's trying to do is get a look at the pitcher's move. Had no intent of stealing on that pitch.
That one to first, and it goes just foul. Two runs across in the inning here in extra innings. That one's back up the middle, and it gets through. Lead runner touches second, headed for third. And that'll put runners at the corners with 2 away. So they're at the corners now. Gary Sanchez getting ready to hit. Swings and misses, and one down below the zone.
0-1.
swing and a miss.
Love to see it. Power versus power right there.
Ripped to short. Off balance throw in time. They limit the damage here. And welcome back to the ballpark. Now it's going to be C.J. Abrams. The pitch. Fastball for a strike. 0-1. The shortstop takes the ball. Tying run at the plate. In the dirt. Save! He beats it! And on the wild pitch, he goes down to third. Here's a 2-2. And a foul ball, he stays alive. 2-2. In the dirt, but kept close. And the runner holds. He goes down looking. Here's the left fielder, Stone Garrett. 1 for 1. He tripled in his first trip. Just missed.
I think ultimately you want to tie him up, get the ball in on the plate so that he can't get the barrel to it and hit it to the outfield.
And that one fouled off. With the tying run at the plate, we're here in the bottom of the fourth. Got him swinging. He chased the changeup. Huge strikeout there.
The first baseman, Joey.
Here's Joey Gallo. As the Nationals are down to their final out. And time is called for a mound visit now. Big moment in this game, so they'll talk it over. Emmanuel Clase into the game. He has a great slider with tons of movement.
1-0.
First offering misses badly for ball one. That's inside.
Oh, an interesting situation. One swing you can tie up the ball game, but if you're patient and work a walk, then you bring the game-winning run to the plate.
Let's see if he gives him anything to hit here. And there's the automatic. Fouls one away, and now 3-2. This could end it. Popped up. Under it. This one is over.
Kind of a strange win, only 3 hits, so they definitely weren't firing on all cylinders there. Great pitching, really kept them in it and gave them a chance.
2-0 your final here in this one. For Chris Singleton and our entire outstanding crew here at MLB The Show, I'm John Shambi. We'll see you soon.
Fans our final line score. First for the victorious.
Pushed into everything else, as I'm sure you know from a social media perspective. And it's kind of blossomed into this point where I get to share what are the worst experiences of my life, but in a positive light to try to help other people avoid making those mistakes.
How do you keep fresh content? Because couldn't it get repetitive only talking about you?
Yeah, it absolutely can. I try to mix in some interviews, but for the most part, I think that what a lot of people... I think that in this niche specifically of gambling addiction, no one makes content. So all the content is by default pretty fresh. I tried to bounce around between awareness content, what I'm doing to get help, and then some wider branching content like how casino streamers make their money, or why is gambling addictive, the psychology of gambling. I've I've done some interviews with doctors. I've done a lot with actual people with lived experience. I'm trying to do more of that. But really, it's just, I try to be honest and I try to listen to what the audience wants, because people will say, well, how did you quit? What do I need to do to quit? I'm in this much debt. How can I pay it off? Like, the questions are there to be answered.
Where do you want to evolve it to?
Well, right now, it's very disconnected between, without, name dropping the groups and all, it's like the groups that are supposed to be helping people are very disconnected. They're filled with people doing great work, but they're going about it in a way that I don't think will work. Like the PSAs of like, drugs turn your brain to mush, like that's not going to connect with today's generation. And so I'd like to evolve my message to the point where I can help these groups to kind of steer their messaging to reach people like myself. Because I mean, just look at this, the difference in gambling from 2018 to today. Imagine it from 1976 when they opened Atlantic City until today. The messaging that's getting put out is trying to help people from 1976. And it's just, it's missing something. So I would love to be a part of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot like drug addiction. It's all about lived experience. That's what's changing lives, because people who are battling addiction can see firsthand what's on the other side of that from someone that's been standing exactly where they came from.
Exactly. I think we're most qualified to help the people we used to be. I mean, as you do with the program you put out, it's a beautiful thing. And people think they got to go and become a doctor to give advice to someone. If something happened to you a year ago, you have authority to give advice on that.
Absolutely. So, is this your full-time gig, making content?
It is. I'm fortunate that it is.
And you can make money from it?
Enough to support myself. I mean, it's much more lucrative to push gambling than it is to push gambling addiction awareness. But within this niche, there's groups that are doing great work that aren't getting a lot of eyes on their content. So teletherapy groups, rehabilitation centers for gambling-specific treatment. And these groups aren't really reaching the audience that they could reach with TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. So they've kind of been piggybacking off of my videos.
Are you giving like talks? Are you working on a book or anything like that?
I'm not working on a book. It's always been something that I'd love to do, but I can't get my brain to slow down enough to sit in front and work on it. But I've given a few talks. Going to be speaking at the National Council on Problem Gambling's conference. But basically those conversations are about how therapists, treatment providers can reach this audience. There's millions and millions of people that have gambling tendencies, gambling addiction tendencies that aren't seeking help. Only 8% of people with a gambling addiction will ever seek help for it. So there's 92% of people that we can reach if we can kind of meet them where they're at.
What would you say to your teenage self before he gambled for the first time? If you could be in the room with him before, that teenage self of yours made that bet, what would you say to him?
That gambling addiction's real. I mean, it'd be easy.
Still DMing influencers for collabs? Find your perfect match.
If you've watched any American sports recently, there's a good chance you were blasted with an advertisement from FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, and various online casinos promising you free money and million-dollar jackpots upon sign-up. But it wasn't like this years ago. Historically, sports betting and gambling in the US had been heavily restricted, where you could only legally play offline at isolated places around the country like Las Vegas and Atlantic City. Even the sports leagues themselves frowned at any mention or association with sports betting. But in the past 5 years, the landscape has evolved dramatically as venture capitalists have invested billions of dollars into mobile-first gambling startups like FanDuel and DraftKings. Despite the relentless advertisements, the widespread popularity, and the celebrity endorsements, online gambling and sports betting is nothing more than a Wild West, where everyone claims to be a hero and no one is telling the truth. It's a market so new that every company boasts that they're the winner, they have the best apps, the most users, and the fastest growth. In this episode, we'll unmask the wild wasteland of online gambling in the United States, we'll cover the economics of casinos, the political dynamics behind this market, and what FanDuel and DraftKings are really betting on as they pursue adoption at every turn.
guys, we are back at it again with a
Welcome back, fellas. So, for today, I've had enough of the Cotai side of Macau. All the games are one of the worst games I ever played. It kind of reminds me of the first time when I got to Vegas. I was jumping around casino to casino, and they were all garbage. But then, out of nowhere, we found the Wynn Casino. And I just put in like 160 hours over the month there. These games were so good. The place was nice. The watermelon juice is great, which they have here. So, took a little trip, we saw a bus ride, and now we're over in Old Macau. Here at the Wynn. Hoping to replicate what happened in Vegas. Hopefully the games are good. Also, one thing to note, it is the lowest rake in town for the 5100s, so it is a 3 big blind cap. Which is amazing. 5100, 300 max cap. So, better than the 500 they were taking, which is about 100 Canadian. Now it's about 60 Canadian. Which is okay. And 5%, so decent. It's like online rate. Yeah. I think that's it. We're just gonna get in there, pray that the games are good, and then maybe we'll put it all on volume here. And it'll be nice. I'm feeling positive. It's gonna be good. Let's get in there. We're gonna buy in for 15,000 to the 5100, and we're gonna spin it up today. We're gonna play a long session today, as long as the games are good. Let's get in there.
Buick. Exceptional by design. Sign and drive is here. Current eligible Buick or GMC
some hands that I played over at the Wynn. I asked them if I could film, but unfortunately due to, it's actually government legislation that filming or taking pictures in the casino is prohibidamido. So, no bueno, we cannot do it, no matter where it is. I don't even think we'll be able to film tournaments at WPT either, but that's okay. So, we're trying to win, hoping things go better. You saw my last vlog, you saw just how tilting the games are. But this hand, Under the Gun has opened it up to 300. I looked at a 4-3 suited, a very low frequency 3-bet. This time randomized, landed on 3-bet. 1K to the middle. Folds back round, and he does make the call. Heads up to a flop of King 8-8 Rainbow. Gonna start with small bet here, but he can still have Ace King. He could probably still have Kings and Aces. They're very trappy, so I don't feel too great. Oh, this is Lord Stowe's. Everyone told me to try the Nectars, so we're gonna go there next. King 8-8, put in a small bet of 500. Does not have to be big. It's a very dry board. Opponent makes the call. Turn. 6 of clubs. My opponent checks. Let's try and fold out queens and below. So I put another bet of 2.5k, setting up for that river shove. I'm probably not going to go for it though. My opponent once again makes the call. This is any indication of the games in Macau. This man has ace king minimum. So when we see the 8 hearts on the river, my opponent checks. Just going to check this one back. My opponent rolls over. Pocket fives. Pocket fives, boys. We might have a game here. That was incredible. He called turn on pocket fives. All right. Okay, I know we lost some money, but feeling good. Feeling good about this. This is such a cool little village. I'm just walking around here. So, the game is quite a bit better than the Cotai side, which is the south side of Macau, the new Macau. This win is on the north side, Old Macau. So anyways, game's playing pretty good. So I'm going to try and go back to my original strategy where I'm sort of range betting and doing these things. One of the adjustments that I made for the old side, it's a very nuanced sort of concept, was to raise very wide pre-flop, because most hands you are taking them down pre-flop. But when you go up against a range that's incredibly tight, the roles are sort of reversed. So an ace-high board is no longer good for the in-position player because I'm raising like a big blind range, and they're defending a under-the-gun range. So we have to be very careful of c-betting. Our exploit is pre-flop. Pre-flop doesn't work, you just ditch it on the post-flop. But anyways, these games are the complete opposite, so I'm just going to play my normal strategy, see how it goes. I run ace deuce of clubs in the hijack to 300, folds around, and big blind makes a call. We go heads up to this flop of 10, 8, 7, 1 spade, 2 clubs. My opponent checks, and on this board, you do want to have some bets, and I like the high and low flushes the most. So ace king, ace queen, ace jack, all be very nice checkbacks for nut flushes, and then anything below that. I think ace 8 or ace 9 would be a really nice checkback too. Anything below that, ace 5 and below, definitely gonna bet. So 500's the middle, my opponent makes the call. Turns the king of spades, 2 flush draws on board now. My opponent checks once again. When there's 2 flush draws, you're in position. The card's a little bit better for me than it is for my opponent. Not by much, but a tiny bit. I'm gonna put in the old overbet. 2K into 1650, slight overbet. Once again, my opponent makes the call. We are heading to the river, and we do improve, but in a weird way. It's the ace of hearts, so we make top pair no kicker. It's a little bit tough here, a little bit tough. But he checks it over, and I think I got to go for value here. We can still get called by hand like 10-9, pair plus gut shot, hopefully. So I don't want to go too big here. I don't think we're ever getting check raised here. So about half pot. I put in a bet of 3.3k. My opponent gives it quite some thought, but eventually decides that's enough money. He puts the pot and just lets it go. But picking up a nice pot here to start the session. Look at all these tourists. No, just kidding. So this next hand, under the gun has raised up to 300, and middle position has called. We've got 10-7 suited on the button. This player has been raising up to 600 or sometimes 500 every single time, and this time it's smaller. So naturally, live poker will attack these things. So I put in the squeeze 1.3k. Now the under the gun player thinks for a bit, makes the call, and then the player that cold called now ships his stack in for 2,250. Annoying. But if we jam here, get the under the gun player to fold, hopefully not in cahoots. There's gonna be a ton of overlay, and it's barely anything to call. It's less than 1k, so I ship my stack in, under the gun gets out the way, and we're up against king 10 of clubs. Damn it, completely crushed. Flop comes down, ace king 3, all diamonds, turn 4 of clubs, river, 4 of diamonds, no help. We lose that one. Alright folks, on to this next hand, a little stream. Very action player. He was the player that opened up to 300 last hand. He's opened up to 400 this time. Bearing his raise size, he's got 10-6 diamonds in big blind. Very happy to get his man action, especially with a hand like this. So I make the call. We go heads up to a flop of jack, 8, 3, rainbow, 1 diamond, no hope. I check, and my opponent quickly checks back. So at this point, I didn't know, but this man checks 100% of flops. He just snap checks, never ever bets. Alright, but we do face a lot of raises on the turn. So the turn comes down to 9 of diamonds. What a beautiful card. We have an open ender and a flush draw. How did that even happen? We had nothing on the flop. But I'm going to check it over to him. He's most likely going to bet, and he does bet 400. It is time to raise. This man, very high turn betting frequency, so I bump it up. 1.5k into the middle. After a little bit of thought, he makes the call. We're off to the river, trying to improve. It is the deuce of clubs. We do not get there. But I am still going to go for it against this action player. Maybe it's a little bit suicidal, but I put $3,200 into the middle. And he gives it a little bit of thought, not too long. Tosses in the call. My man has jack 8 suited for a flop top 2. That one's not going to get through. We are on to the next hand. I am going to rebuy for 6k now. Just top up the stack a little bit. Alright, got myself a mojito. It's delicious. On to this next hand. I've been very card dead this session. Like 2 hours out of hand. So When under the gun opens, middle position calls, I've got 4-3 suited in the hijack, I think. I'm going to treat this like aces. I put in the squeeze up to 1.5k, and both my opponents make the call. We go on 3 ways to this flop. It comes down ace, queen, 5, 2 diamonds, 1 heart. I'm going to start with a small bet here. I put in 1.5k, and the under the gun player, the original raiser, makes the call. We head to the turn. It is another ace, 2 flush draws on board now. I'm just going to check this one back. We have nothing going on here, so I check, and we see the 3 of clubs on the river, so I make a pair. My opponent, very quick check over, and I don't think my 3 is ever good here, but if he had an ace, he would definitely bet it, so I'm going to try and apply max pressure. The pot is around 7.6. I move all in, 9,000. My opponent gives it quite a bit of thought. After quite some tanking, he decides 9k is too much. He decides to let it go. We get it through. Get it through. Alright, folks, I am very, very hard dead. We played that 4-3 suited hand that was like an hour or 2 ago. Haven't played anything since. And now we pick up 9-7 of clubs in early position. Pump it on up. I lowered my raise size to 200. There's been quite a bit of 3-bets, so 200 until like cut off or hijack and hijack onwards. Normal size 300. Anyways, 200. Now small blind puts in a re-raise. 1.1k. 5.5x. Big blind folds. I haven't played a hand in 2 hours. Alright, I call. We go to a flop of jack, 10, 3, 2 spades. All we have is an okay gut shot. You know, it's basically to the nuts. My opponent never has queen 9 here. But he does bet 1.1k about half pot. We got to float 1 street here, so I make the call. Turn's good. Turn is the 8 of spades, so we make our straight. Flush does get there though, and my opponent now checks it over. Definitely gonna want to bet here. Don't really know what sizing. I tend to go around half pot in these spots just so I can still bet a hand like jack 10, maybe even ace jack. So 2.5k is my wager. My opponent calls. Hoping for a good river. We don't get it. It's a 9 of hearts. It's gonna be extremely tough to get paid now by aces or kings. Queens have just got there. We still lose the flushes. So my opponent checks. I don't think there's any sense in value betting here. We're never getting called by worse. Like maybe a set of jacks, but I don't know. We're targeting too few hands, so I just check it back, and my 7 is indeed good. Alright guys, found a nice quiet little area to do a little update on how the game is going. My voice might sound a bit weird, it's because there's music playing right now, and you would roar if you could hear it. I don't know if you're gonna get that, but I can't afford to put it on my video. So anyways, game's good. Game's good. There's action. People are calling down pocket 5s. I'd love to see it. That last hand, I called a 5.5x 3-bet 9-7 suited. I'm very card dead right now. It's been about 3 hours. I've played maybe 2 hands. Feeling it a bit. Feeling it a little bit, but I'm going to get back in there and play better than that. But, like I said, the action is good. The dealers are really good too. They can actually pitch cards. The other casinos, at the end when they rake the pot, they count it all out and then they figure it out and then they rake it. Here, they just know what the pot is. They just rake it. It's easy. It's fast. We're getting like 15, 20, around 15, 20 hands an hour. So probably double what the other casinos are doing. Also, the chips are the proper color. It's so nice. Greens are 25, blacks are 100, yellows are 1,000. Purple's a bit weird, like weird brownish color. Maybe they used to be purple when they got dirty. But whatever. That's about it for me, guys. I'm gonna get back into the table. See, I'm like putting in a decent session today, maybe like 8 or 9 hours. Feeling it today. Feeling it today. We're gonna book another win. I think we're at 3 in a row now. Here, very small wins. Hoping another one. That's enough yammering for me. Let's get back in there. Win some more money. Go. All right, guys. Another spell of card death. But this time we pick up pocket jacks in the big line. Under the gun has raised to 300. Low jack and cutoff is called. When it comes to me, gonna put in the squeeze here. I bumped up to 1.9k. Big blind folds, and now under the gun player puts in the re-raise. You know, it always seems to be like this when you're card dead. You always face pre-flop aggression. You know, you're playing one hand every hour or 2, and every time you open, you just get 3 or 4 bet. But he bumps up to 5.6k, folds back round. This should just be a fold. 4 bets are so nutted here, but I just make the call. We go heads up to a flop of king, 10, 5, rainbow. Check it over. My opponent puts in a bet of 3k. We're just done with the hand now. We beat ace, queen, and that's it. Yeah, that's it. So we fold. On to the next hand. All right, on to the next hand. You pick up king, queen off, under the gun, open up to 200. In the middle position, very active player. Now rebets us to 700. Pulls back round, and this hand, if we want to continue, gotta bring it up to 4 town. 2,100 Hong Kong dollars into the middle. My opponent makes the call. We go heads up to a flop of 5-4 deuce, 2 hearts, 1 spade. Fortunately, a lot better for me than it is for my opponent. I still have all the overpair advantage, as well as most of my hands do have a gut shot here. So, a small bet, 1,100 into the middle, and my opponent makes the call. Turns to jack of clubs, not my favorite card. Pocket jacks never folding, and we have better hands to bluff with here. So, just gonna check it over. My opponent checks behind. River is a 7 of diamonds. Pot is around 6,550, and I want it. I want it bad. So, I don't think he's going to check back a strong hand on the turn. Maybe aces, a little bit worried about aces, a little bit worried about jacks, but for the most part, I don't think he's going to call if he has kings. So, this is just hugely profitable. So, I'm going to go for the overbet. I am all in. 12,000 into the middle, into the pot 6,550. You guys thought bankroll management is something I care about. It is not. We are trying to win as best as we can. And after quite a bit of thought, my opponent decides to let it go. We get another one through. All of my river all-ins have been bluffed so far. I have not gone to the river with value yet for a hand that I can shove. Unfortunate, but still picking up a nice pot there. All right, on to the next hand. We open the ace-6 of clubs in early position. Up to 200, and we get 4 callers. The cutoff button, small blind, and big blind all make the call. We haven't been able to call anything decent this session. It's been a bit of a struggle, but we're going to try our best this time. And we do just that. Ace, 9, 6, 2 hearts. So we got bottom and top pair. Nice spot to be in, plus 1k. So I put in a bet of 300. The cutoff player makes a call, as does the big blind. So we went 3 ways to this turn, which is not great. It's queen of hearts, so the flush does get there. Seeing as we're 5 ways to the flop, it's quite likely somebody has a flush here. So I'm going to go to defense mode. Big blind checks, I check, and cutoff now bets 700. Big blind folds. This player is so much action. There's no way we are folding here. I make the call. Off to the river, looking for a clean one. It is the 3 of hearts. That is not clean. So, think about it for a bit. Check it over to my opponent. He thinks, and checks it back and shows down. Get ready for this, guys. The 4-3 offsuit. 1 heart. Absolutely nothing on the flop. Called with 3 players left to act. Tell you what, that hand has 1 heart. That man has an even bigger one. What a call. I am not playing at all. That is some action. Love to see it, but that pot is not going to go our way. Damn it. Our first good hand on the flop. But that's okay. We move on to the next one. Clearly the money's moving around, and it's going to come right back eventually. Okay, folks, we are back into town, back to the modern world. Skyscrapers, crazy high prices for food. Open the 8-6 with spades under the gun. We have a low jack and a hijack called for the small blind. Looks like he wants to call it, puts 200 chips in front of him, looking like he's about to call. And then after a while, he keeps tanking, and then 3 bets to 1.3k. Pulls back to me, and, he almost called. But then he just goes for a raise. I don't believe this. We're going for the 4 bet. I bumped it up 3.2k into the middle. We're a little bit deep here, about 200. Big blind's effective. Pulls back around, and after a little bit of thought, he does make the call. We go to a flop. It comes down. Jack of clubs, 4 of spades, 3 of spades. About as good as it can get when you have 8-6 of spades. We do have a flush draw. He checks. We're going to start with a bet here. I put in 2k, and he calls. Off to the turn. It is the ace of diamonds. Really nice card, just in case he had a hand that was actually decent, which I don't think he does. He's probably got like 10s or 9s or something here. But when he checks it over, I thought my stack around 8k here, but it's actually around 13k. So a slight overbet when I do move all in, but I think I like it anyways. Board's just a little bit too wet, and we're gonna go quite polar here. I think even aces, we're just gonna ship it in, hope to cool or something like kings or queens that just can't find the fold. But we move all in. He gives it quite a bit of thought. We're in the blender. He's in the blender. We're just tanking. We're hoping he folds, and get it through once again. Another bluff, another successful bluff. We have not been caught a lot. People are just not catching me, so it's very nice. Let's pick up that hand. 24 is now our stack, and we are now up 3,000 on the day. Alright guys, on to the next hand. The same player as before has raised up to $800 over 2 limps. I sense that he's a little bit tilted, but I don't know. Anyways, I was got King Jack suited in the hijack, and decided to bump it up. You know, strong enough hand, he's raising very wide, so 2.5k to go. Pulls back round, and he does make the call. Head to a flop, it is ace 4-4, no backdoors, no hope. My opponent checks it, and I'm very happy to just bet this against this opponent and just take it down here. He's gonna have to fold a lot of his hands, 8-7 suited, whatever. I'm just happy to see them go into the muck. Against a very good reg, this would be almost a pure check back, but against him, I put in 2,000. He thinks for quite a while, like 4 or 5 minutes, and then he does something very strange. He does a pump fake, where he goes to hold his cards like this very fast, like boom, right to the line, leaves him there for a second, and then throws out a 7k raise. What? What is going on? Like, it completely threw me. Like, I was like, what? What's going on? What is this? And yeah, what the hell is that? So started thinking it over, and my instinct was just telling me, just shove. Just get the hand over with, just shove. We just want to deny all his equity. He's never got a 4 here. He may be playing an ace this way, but I just feel really stupid. He just has like ace-6 offsuit and just calls it off. And then I started thinking, what does that pump fake mean? Why would he want to feign weakness and then go for the raise? I started thinking it over, like, weakness means strength. Weakness means strength, so I think that's why he's doing it. And I just wrestled back and forth with my thoughts. I could not pick an option. I don't want to call down, alright? I don't want to call down and just have him spike some stupid 3-outer and just win. So it's either all in because he's bluffing and we just want to take it down, even though we do have the best hand, right? We're almost never getting better to fold unless it's a hand like pocket 3s. But yeah, it's either all in or fold, and ultimately I decided I think he just has an ace here, and he's just overplaying, like, just on pure tilt. So I fold, and as soon as I do, the man windmills King Deuce of clubs in my face. All I had to do was shove. It was 15k shove to win 15k. I couldn't do it. After this hand, though, I did see that this man literally pump fakes every single action he makes. He'll grab a 4k raise, go like this over to the line, and then throw it back towards him and then check. So it's just what he does, and everyone kind of puts up with it because he is a big whale. But anyways, very brutal hand to lose, especially getting King Deuce windmilled at me. Later on in the session, his mood did improve, and we started battling, and it was a lot of fun once again after that, once his tilt sort of cooled off. Anyways, that mojito has got me in the mood for a cocktail, like a proper one. So I'm going to head on down to St. Regis, get myself a nice Manhattan, and then we're going to continue these hands, but I'll see you in St. Regis. Cocktails at the St. Regis last night. I decided to finish off my hand history. So only 2 left. I'm going to do them today. The piano playing was very excellent, and the cocktails were fantastic. It's a great night. In this next hand, under the gun +2 is open to 300. Low jack is called, and with no jack 10 offsuit in the cutoff versus these 2 specific players, and with the player in the big blind, I need to call extremely wide here. Extremely wide. So I call the jack 10 off. Small blind also calls to go 4 ways to a flop of ace, king, 3 rainbow. Action surprisingly checks all the way to me.
Just gonna check this one back. I'm not blocking these two, so I check it back, and on the turn, you see the Queen of Spades. Beautiful. Action once again checks to me. Gonna go for about 1/3 pot bet here, so 400's the middle. And now small blind raises it up to 1.3k. On the gun plus 2 folds, low jack folds, and now it's back on me. If I just call, the SPR is too large on the river as well. I don't really believe this like double check and then go for the check raise. I'm not really believing this, but I just want to give him a chance to do something stupid. So I'm going to put in the 3 bet on the turn. I bump it up to 3,000, and after a little bit of thought, he makes the call. Ups the river looking for a blank, and we get it. It is the... Oh, I didn't even note it down. It was a complete blank. I think it was like the 8 of hearts or like the deuce of diamonds, just complete blank. I think for a little bit, when he checks to me, we are down to 1 SPR here, so only 1 sizing to use. I move all in. And he thinks about 30 seconds and unfortunately just folds, but pretty nice pickup there. Alright, and final hand for the vlog. We are playing against a very competent reg. It looks like he lives here in Macau. I've seen him play the higher limits. I think the 100, 200, maybe the 200, 400. But he's opened the cutoff to 300, and I look down at 5-4 off in the big blind. I think this is a defend, so I make the call. We go heads up to a flop of 3 deuce, deuce, 2 spades, 1 heart. I think versus cutoff, this is a lead, but versus button it's not, because button will still have ace deuce off, but cutoff shouldn't. So I think big blind versus cutoff, this is a leading board. So that's what I do. 200's in the middle, and after a little bit of thought, my opponent does continue. It's a turn. It's the 3 of diamonds. Still a really nice card for me. I will be leading almost all my 3x on the flop, so a card's going to improve me a lot more than my opponents, but we don't have to go too big here. We're targeting, you know, if we had a full house here, we are targeting hands like overpairs, which are essentially dead to 2 outs, so I think a little bit over half pot is fine here. So I put in 600, and once again my opponent calls. Opposite river, it is the 4 of spades, improving us to top pair, but it's never good. It's never good. My opponent like just doesn't have ace high, and I don't feel like checking this back. If he didn't have a flush draw, it's still gonna be really tough for him to call here with a double paired board. And with my overwhelming range advantage here, picking a hand like 5-4 that has a little bit of removal, not too much, but a little bit, I think would make a very nice bluff. So I go for the 2x overbet, 4,500 into the middle, and we face a very intimidating stare down, and thinks it over for quite a bit. He is very, very, very suspicious. We're just hoping it gets through. And finally he decides on a fold. That is good news. Very happy to take that one down, and that is our final hand at the win. Alright guys, wrapping up that session. I'm so glad I found the win. Steve is always here when you need him. We bought in, we were in the game for 21,000. I kind of topped off a bit. I just wanted to match some stacks. I didn't want to play too short, 100 bigs. In for 21,000, out for $29,010, so 8k profit. Nice. Just over 10 big lines an hour. I think we played just around 8. The starting roll for this video was 41,550. Now sitting at 49,310. We ate some lunch and breakfast, but I'm gonna go walk around old Macau now, take a look around, and get some dinner. And then tomorrow, I'm gonna edit this video that you're watching right now, and I'm gonna go to the place that you saw me review the hands from in the future. Don't know where it's gonna be. Perhaps it's gonna do with pandas, a little panda museum or something. But that is it for me, guys. I think we're gonna be seeing a lot more win over the next few weeks. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys next week. Alright
guys, so I'm clearly behind the curve right now. Diss tracks are dropping left, right, and center, and all I can really do is do these one at a time. What I can say is that I put an enormous amount of effort and time into these videos, and there's a reason why all of my breakdowns are different from everyone else's. To try and figure out what it all means, like, I'm not just pulling info from Genius, I'm studying the lyrics for hours and hours and hours. Like, a lot of time goes into this. With all that said, just a week ago, Kendrick Lamar dropped a 6-minute diss record towards Drake. And I really do appreciate anyone that waited for this video, the patience. Like, I know what this moment is. I can't do this twice, so I'm trying to do it right. Alright, so first and foremost, the title, Euphoria. So much to unpack in this in itself. Now, as you guys know, on Drake's track, Tailor Made, he said that he was expecting a quintuple entendre from Kendrick due to his delay.
You better have a motherfucking quintuple entendre on that shit. Some shit I don't even understand.
And Kendrick did that in the title, and then some. Now, before I break down all the meanings of this title, I want to point out the true hidden meanings first, which everyone has missed, and it is quite literally a large part of the entire premise and setup of this record. Uma Thurman from Kill Bill recently tagged Drake in a post on Instagram offering him the iconic suit where she fends off multiple opponents. Now, the objective of her character is that of revenge. She is quite literally trying to kill Bill. However, there is a scene in the series where Bill claims that she is a liar who is not just incapable of telling the truth about him, but telling the truth to herself.
Because when it comes to the subject of me, I believe you are truly and utterly incapable of telling the truth, especially to me, and at least to yourself.
To address his issues with her lies, Bill shoots her with a dart containing a serum called the Undisputed Truth, and states that the serum will cause a state of euphoria.
Gotcha! What lies within that dart is an incredibly potent and quite infallible truth serum. I call it Undisputed Truth, with no druggy additives, except for a slight weight.
And that is quite literally the setup of how Kendrick approaches this record, by presenting what he feels to be non-stop, undisputed truths about Drake. It is in this track and the upcoming tracks where you will see Kendrick paints Drake as a liar, as an actor, as someone that lies to himself, and just like Bill in this movie, Kendrick does not believe a word that Drake says. However, in the very first line of this track, Kendrick makes reference to superpowers getting neutralized, which is the exact same thing that Bill talks about in the same scene of this movie.
Yes, there's the superhero, ego. Batman is actually Bruce Wayne. Spider-Man is actually Peter Parker. When that character wakes up in the morning, he's Peter Parker. He has to put on a costume to become Spider-Man. That characteristic, Superman stands alone. Superman becomes Superman. Superman was born Superman. Superman wakes up in the morning, Superman. His outfit with the big red S. That's blanket he was wrapped in as a baby when the kids found him. Those are his clothes.
Bill describes the alter ego of superheroes who require a costume to become that character. This is exactly what Kendrick does in most of this record, as he strategically picks Drake's character apart. Bill then goes on to point out that Superman is always Superman. When he wakes up in the morning, he does not have a character, he was born Superman. Now, as we move further into this track, and as Kendrick alludes to Drake being a fraud, Kendrick is saying that when it comes to hip-hop, he is Superman. He was born this person in the culture that Drake impersonates with no need for a costume. So when Kendrick refers to superpowers becoming neutralized, he is essentially saying that in this track and in this war, he is removing the costume from Drake to expose his true identity. And speaking of beef, let me tell you about today's sponsor, Cook Unity. Cook Unity is the first chef-to-consumer platform delivering freshly prepared, pre-selected meals right to your door weekly. And there is a few different subscription plans for you to pick. Choosing one of Cook Unity's subscription plans is quick, easy, and effortless, and once you're all set up, you will start to receive restaurant-quality, fully cooked meals, so all you have to do is heat it up, and you're ready to eat and enjoy.
don't have time to cook for yourself, or maybe you just want to break throughout the week, haul out a quick meal, good option. You will select from hundreds of meals each week prepared by award-winning chefs, and if you can't or don't have time, Cook Unity is happy to select your meals based on your taste preferences. So basically, you'll just let them know what types of foods you like, and they'll tailor your meals around that. The meal plans are flexible and commitment-free. You can skip deliveries, pause or cancel anytime, and enjoy restaurant-quality meals for a fraction of the price. Subscriptions start at as low as $11 per meal, and if you want to subscribe and get some meals from Cook Unity, all you have to do is go to cookunity.com/dirt50 or click the link in the description below and use my code DIRT50 to get 50% off your first order. Thank you again to Cook Unity for sponsoring this video. Now, on to the other meanings behind the title. The track is titled Euphoria, and the artwork gives a clear definition of what that means. Secondly, the artwork then also provides an example of the word euphoria being used in an actual sentence where it states, "They had almost a week to recover from the euphoria of Tuesday's series-winning victory," and Kendrick dropped the track on a Tuesday, alluding to how this record is giving him a win, also a reference to his upcoming tracks as well. Furthermore, Drake executive produced the hit show Euphoria, a show depicting the lives of teenagers who find themselves in very adult-like situations. Therefore, this reference is also clearly with respect to the ongoing rumors that Drake is into much younger women. However, the title is even more deeper than that. I'm talking about the studied phenomenon where people experience a state of euphoria before they die. This is by far the most strategic use of the title, as this is exactly what happened to Drake. Euphoria is in every sense of the word a bait track. Look at how confident Drake was. Like, Kendrick fucking knew. He had all those records recorded. Done, ready, waiting. Kendrick knew that Drake felt he had a slam dunk in his beat. He knew that when Drake dropped the Family Matters track, that Drake would have been living on a high, feeling like he won, leaving Drake in a state of euphoria. However, just like when people experience euphoria moments before they die, this is exactly what Kendrick did to Drake, strategically releasing a showstopper record just moments after Drake dropped. And look, you don't have to believe me, but I had this as a prediction in this script before any of those records even came out. I truly made the connection that Drake would experience a great deal of euphoria from that release, only to have it taken away by Kendrick. And it sucks that I couldn't get the video out in time, but seeing it all come true really just lets me know that all the time and effort that I put into this shit really does hold some weight. So this was literally all part of his plan. The long wait, the being quiet, like making Drake believe that he had the upper hand. Strategy, chess, fucking phenomenal. With the title out of the way, I've seen some theories bouncing around that are trying to support the claims of Drake being involved with younger women through the use of the date that the record dropped, April 30th, also known as National Children's Day. It's a holiday in Mexico, it's not an American holiday. I don't see the significance. Then we got the theory of Kendrick holding back the record to drop it on the date that the Funny Mustache Man was killed, and given the fact that Drake is of that faith, people seem to think that something is also here. It doesn't make any sense. Like, the Funny Mustache Man, when he died, that was like one of the best things to ever happen for that religion. Quite literally the ending of suffering. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Outside of the date, the time that the record dropped was 8:24 p.m., which is an ode to Kobe Bryant, who wore the numbers 8 and 24.
Euphoria is glorified and made his.
That one does make sense. So we looked at the title, we looked at the date, the time. Now let's look at the beat selection. Structurally, the track is broken up into 3 parts with 3 different beats, which is deliberate and very clever, as Kendrick plays off one of his hardest lines from Like That.
First as a shooter, I hope they came with 3 switches. I crash out.
I hope they come with 3 switches, and then he comes with 3 switches. Like, that's tough. The first beat is important for me to mention, as Kendrick samples a track from Teddy Pendergrass called You're My Latest, My Greatest Inspiration. Now, I've seen some outrageous rumors being spread that Teddy Pendergrass had previous allegations of messing with kids, that are not only completely unsubstantiated, but documented absolutely nowhere. While my primary focus is breaking down this record, in doing this, I feel obligated to point out things that are just blatantly untrue. And look, I know Teddy had his fair share of scandals, but to just be pulling this information out of your ass and throwing it up online, especially when it comes to claims like this, like, you should probably stop doing that. However, interestingly enough, Teddy covered a song by Drake's uncle Larry Graham, who is a Hall of Fame inducted musician. Now, you can best believe that this is not a coincidence and there's a deeper meaning behind the use of this sample. I'm just unclear of what that could be. Outside of that, Teddy Pendergrass did get in a car accident which left him paralyzed in a wheelchair, just like the character that Drake played on Degrassi. And Drake's uncle has an accolade that is better than any award or plaque, any of that shit. Like, he's known for inventing the slap technique of the bass. Like, that is crazy, bro. Kendrick starts out the track with a small intro that has an excerpt played in reverse from the 1978 film The Wiz. The film reimagines the 1900 novel and 1939 film The Wizard of Oz in the perspective of African Americans. Kendrick uses this to symbolize that what he's about to craft is for the culture, something he believes Drake simply isn't a part of. He really drives this home, as in the context of this movie, Kendrick is comparing Drake to the Wizard, who is played by Richard Pryor. Pryor's Wizard is initially looked at as someone who is feared and respected. He uses technology and trickery to maintain his illusion of power, but is soon discovered to be a fraud. This goes back to Kendrick and removing the costume from Drake's character. The Wizard is exposed when the blanket is pulled back, revealing that he's not powerful at all, and manipulated people into believing that he was.
I'm sorry. Everything you say about me is true. I'm a phony. I got no powers. I got no right to be pretending to be the Wiz.
Much like the Wizard, Kendrick looks at Drake as someone who uses industry connections, fame, collaborations, fashion, hairstyle, and even technology like social media to fool people into believing that he is a person of the culture.
Everything you say about me is true.
When brought back to its original form, the line is extremely important to the overall theme of this record. Everything they say about me is true, the key word being they. As you'll see later in this record, Kendrick does not present much new information with respect to Drake, mostly reciting pre-existing things that people have already said within the culture, aka things that they say. By not exposing anything new, many people took this as a weakness, but this is quite literally Kendrick's entire strategy with this record. Basically, Kendrick is demonstrating that Drake has been exposed so many times that he doesn't even need to reveal anything new, as he packages all the already existing info and presents it as being more than enough to remove Drake's costume. So it's critical to point out that in the phrase, everything they say about me is true, the term they is representing the culture that is hip-hop. So all that right there is the framework and entire setup of the theme of this record. Literally. Another obvious meaning behind Kendrick's choice of quoting The Wiz is the fact that it is an African-American cult classic, which is likely what Kendrick watched as a child, whereas someone like Drake, growing up with a white mother, probably only watched the original Wizard of Oz, which had no black actors whatsoever.
Superpowers get neutralized. I can only watch in silence.
Kendrick starts out the disc claiming that Drake's superpowers have been neutralized while he watches in silence. Circling back to the Kill Bill reference, as I've stated already, superpowers being neutralized alludes to Drake's costume being removed, exposing the fraud beneath it. The line about watching in silence perfectly ties into the quote from The Wiz, where Kendrick is essentially saying that he doesn't even need to speak, all he needs to do is sit back in silence, as Drake's alter ego unravels by itself through everything that they, the culture, says about him. DMX pointed out years ago that Drake was a fraud. Meek Mill exposed Drake for ghostwriters. Pusha T exposed Drake for being in blackface and hiding a child. Joe Budden alluded to underage women claims. Rick Ross painted Drake as a cultural outsider that had plastic surgery. Tupac's estate disapproved of Drake's use of an AI Tupac, and over the years the culture in itself has added even more into the mix. When it comes to Drake and the culture that is hip-hop, the people within it have already neutralized Drake's superpowers on their own. You'll also notice that everything I just mentioned are all things that Kendrick makes reference to on this track.
The famous actor we once knew is looking paranoid and now spiraling.
So right off rip, in the second line, Kendrick begins to chip away at Drake's hip-hop persona. This line is not just directed at Drake for being an actor on Degrassi, but as an actor within the culture that is hip-hop.
You're moving just like a degenerate, heavy antique, tasteful.
This line acts as a double entendre where one, Kendrick refers to Drake as a degenerate, likely due to his internet antics and the way that he moves in general. He seemingly supports this further by labeling Drake's AI diss as a distasteful cheap gimmick, and secondly, he is watching Drake's career degenerate, meaning to downgrade in terms of quality and how it's being perceived.
Why calculate? You're not as calculated. I can even predict your angles.
So first and foremost, Kendrick uses a play on words in a mathematics setting, referencing calculations and angles. Furthermore, he paints Drake as someone who is not as calculated as he might believe, claiming that he can predict his every move, which is exactly what he did. He predicted what Drake was going to do on the Family Matters record.
Fabricating stories on the family front, cause you heard Mr. Morales.
In the first line, Kendrick alludes to Drake seemingly suggesting on push-ups that Kendrick's wife might have been unfaithful. Kendrick addressed his infidelity on his previous project, and he is insinuating that Drake is pulling these claims out of his ass based on that info.
A pathetic master manipulator. I can smell the tails on you now.
Kendrick is basically claiming that Drake is twisting the truth to fit a narrative that the masses will likely run with, and that he can already smell the bullshit coming.
You're not a rap artist, you're a scam artist with the hopes of being accepted.
Following the theme of the record, Kendrick continues to drive home that Drake is simply not the person who he appears to be, by claiming that Drake is desperate to be accepted, and that he fabricated a persona to make that happen.
Drake claims he wasn't cool.
You know, it was, I just always felt like an outsider. I went.
Tommy Hilfiger stood out. He will never have been your collection.
Kendrick claims that Drake is far more Tommy Hilfiger, a brand that is far more common in a white man's wardrobe. Furthermore, allegations were made years ago that Tommy Hilfiger was racist, not approving of different ethnicities wearing his brand. For the record, this has been not to be true, but it was a narrative back in the day. Kendrick claims that Drake never had any FUBU in his collection, which is a masterful line in itself, truly helping to drive home the approach with this record. FUBU is a black-owned company with the slogan, "For Us, By Us," but more importantly, FUBU is very much a hip-hop company.
FUBU, the clothes got massive. They the best that ever did it. I'm just keeping the bread up.
What Kendrick is really trying to drive home here is that just like FUBU, hip-hop is a culture that is for the people, by the people, and that is something that Drake has no ties to, as he is an outsider. Kendrick could also be referring to a fairly recent picture of Drake wearing FUBU, and I couldn't find any other pictures in existence where he's doing that. Now again, to be fair, which I am, Drake posted a drawing that he did from when he was a kid. It was like a hat or something, and it was wearing a FUBU hat, so he obviously knew about the brand from a young age.
I make music that electrifies.
Kendrick points out that his music electrifies people. What he means by this is his music requires people to think, as the brain generates electrical activity when it processes thoughts. This diss record in itself is proof of just how layered his music can get. Kendrick creates music about real-world issues in a very poetic way that involves a great deal of comprehension. In the case of Drake, he claims that he makes music that pacifies them. Now, when we look at the definition of pacify, it is to cause someone who is angry or upset to be calm and satisfied. This is very important because Kendrick makes music to unite and empower his people. As we've seen in the past, protesters literally use his lyrics to make a statement. When we look at the subject matter in a lot of Drake's music, he is making the people do the opposite, calming them down by not evoking much thought at all, making them happy and pacifying them. And this line again went over heads, like people were thinking that he was calling Drake's music sleepy, like that's not what that means. It's way deeper than that. However, the line also down on the line, but in this case, he spared him. Kendrick then, for the second time, calls Drake a master manipulator, and just like in the Kill Bill reference from earlier, he claims that Drake is a habitual liar.
You are truly, utterly incapable.
Especially, it's a genius chess move because he gave himself a bit of a safety net, and now we've been hearing the people talk like, oh, Drake's a liar. Kendrick said he was going to lie. That's what he's doing. He then makes reference to his own lyrics from the Hard Part 4.
But don't tell no lie about me, and I won't tell the truth about you.
This is another really clever reference, as many believe that it was on that track where Kendrick took aim at both Big Sean and Drake. The key word being troops, plural. Like, I have more than one thing on you. Kendrick then hits Drake with a nasty beat switch. When I'm driving in the car and like this beat drops, my foot just gets real heavy on the gas. Like I start speeding.
Yeah, I'm out the way, I'm low, okay, the island right here is remote, okay.
Kendrick plays into the narrative that Cole and Drake cultivated on their disses, that Kendrick is laying low and not selling as well as he used to. The line is also a reference to Kendrick being low in terms of his height, which is something that Drake continues to play on.
You ain't thinking about no reaper, nigga, I'm reaping what I sow, okay?
So, as I said before, there was no way that J. Cole was coming out of this thing unscathed, and Kendrick proves this to be correct, as he has some more bars for Cole here. I don't think any of us could forget J. Cole's verse on Johnny P's Caddy.
Nigga want me on the song, he gon' see the wrath of the reaper.
It was in this verse where J. Cole really started to reshape the narrative of who was the best, and Kendrick takes the chance to flip one of Cole's hardest lines to make it clear that J. Cole is not the Reaper, and unlike Cole, who apologized, Kendrick was going to follow through in his beef, reaping what he sowed. I said this 2 months ago. I thought that J. Cole was taking shots at Kendrick on Johnny P's Caddy. I do think he is talking to someone, and that someone, I feel like, is Kendrick Lamar. And Kendrick thought the same thing. I mean, there's a reason why he's referencing that record in particular.
You got a Benjamin and a Jackson all in my house, like I'm Joe, okay?
So Kendrick really starts to put his pen on display. He makes reference to Benjamins and Jacksons, alluding to how he has plenty of money. This is likely a rebuttal to Drake's claims on push-ups regarding Kendrick's contract splits. However, the line is also in reference to Joe Jackson, who is Michael Jackson's father, and it's interesting to note that Michael Jackson also had a pet rat named Ben. Michael Jackson was weird from the jump. In this beef, the Michael Jackson and Prince thing just gets flipped and rebutted over and over again, and in this case, he's either calling Drake a rat, or someone in his team a rat, or both. There are multiple layers to this line alone. Kendrick brings up the Hellcat, which is a sports car trim for Dodge, but also by definition, a Hellcat is a spiteful, violent woman. Kendrick cleverly plays with the word hell, making it seem that Drake and his associates all sold their soul while simultaneously calling Drake a bitch. But in the next line, there's even more layers.
Everybody wanna be demon, and they get chipped by your throwaway.
Kendrick continues the clever wordplay with his usage of the word demon, as the demon is a trim level above the Hellcat for Dodge cars. The use of the word chipped refers to the demon being chipped out so that it has specific programming tailored to its performance. Kendrick also uses the word demon as a play on Future's middle name, Demon, and references one of Future's tracks, Throwaway.
Call for that nigga, get it over with. Call for that nigga, get it over with.
Go and pet that puppy, get it over with. I always change the lyrics and sing that song to my dog. And being chipped by a throwaway is also a reference to being taken out by a gun, as when you commit a crime with a pistol, you throw away the piece to eliminate any evidence. Furthermore, being chipped by a throwaway is also in reference to Kendrick's track Like That, which is what sparked this entire thing. And what's even more nuts is that the Like That track was Future's record, the guy that he already referenced within the line. Kendrick is essentially saying that the verse that shook the world was a throwaway verse, it was effortless, and it was nothing for him to do. However, while on the topic of Future and throwaways, a throwaway is also a woman that you just hit and toss to the side, and as we all know, Future accused Drake of pillow talking, so it's very possible that the woman that Drake trusted to share secrets with was Future's throwaways, so therefore he got chipped by a throwaway. But the line is even crazier than that. I need you guys to remember Drake's recent track with J. Cole called Evil Ways, as it was on that track where Cole had subliminals for Kendrick.
I stay out of beef, see niggas DNA get rearranged.
And to make this even more obvious, it's on that exact same track where J. Cole claims that he is going through his demon phase.
Young Angel going through his demon phase.
So when Kendrick says everybody want to be a demon until they get chipped by a throwaway, that's a bullet for both